All right, call this meeting to order. Commissioner Gilbert, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Here.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Present.
Commissioner Intner,
Here.
Chair Firestone.
Here.
Absent is Commissioner Murphy and Commissioner Dutter.
Here.
Okay. Did you want to
Make an announcement about our other commissioner? Yes. Commissioner Wilson has formally resigned from the commission. I'm sure he won't mind reasons for that. He just said he had work commitments that were preventing him from getting to meetings, so that was the one and only reason. Just
So we
other
didn't-
commitments.
We didn't run an ad for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It might have been a little longer than that,
Yeah.
but
He did.
put that thing back in there.
He did serve for a little over a year and 2 or 3 months, somewhere in that range. So we appreciate his service to the commission, of course, and wish him well. So we will be working toward, we haven't put an ad in yet or a public notice yet for recruitment of a new commissioner, but we will.
Okay.
If you're interested, come in and put an application
Right.
in.
Yes, please. If you're out there and you want to get on the commission, we'd love to have you.
Mhm.
Meetings are only an hour long, usually.
And they're tons of fun.
Yes,
Okay.
that too.
Public comments?
On here, is it a public comment or?
Yeah, you can, this is the public comment time. I'll let you state who you are and.
My name's John Lamar, and I'm working with the Ojai Valley Bike Coalition. And I work with Toby Green, who I think's been here quite a bit. I wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with the bike park. I was here before, I believe, at the end of last year. And we had some good direction at that time. I think because of the holidays and a lot of things that were happening that were very important at the city, things got kind of delayed and sidetracked. Happy to say that that's not the current situation. We've made a lot of progress just recently. I met Mike Anaba, who's the arboriculturist, on the site at the Lower Libby parking lot. Mr. McClary has agreed to have the city finance a survey that I've been wanting to put together for a while. And so that's in the works right now. So that's real positive. And that survey will probably take a few weeks to put together. That'll be an essential element to putting together the environmental impact study documents and working closely with Holly King at Site Specific on that portion. Just spoke with her today. And so, after a little bit of a hump in the road, we're making some progress, and I think it's been good for me in a way because I've spent the last several months spending a lot of time thinking about it, looking at some of the options, and I think there's a lot of great options now that are coming up to make it a better design.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for coming down. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. So the survey that is being funded, that's just for the trees? Or?
Well, it's an essential part of the environmental study because we want to do the biology part, which would be a cataloging of all the trees. And most of those would be, of course, oaks. Some of them are native oaks that grow on their own, and some of them were planted when the parking lot was developed. And the survey is going to be really important because we had never had very specific data to work with Now we're going to, because a lot of it was generalized from satellite views and so on and so forth. So, and that was helpful. It got things to a certain place. Now we really need very specific information. There happens to be about somewhere between a 7.5 and a 9-foot slope across that property. So we have to account for that. Current laws and regulations relative to drainage are very different than they were when that parking lot was constructed. We have to capture the water, we have to send it into the soil, and then we have to allow for rains like we had this last winter, where we get so much rain at one time, we need to then allow for that as well. So, and then make sure that the bike park doesn't float away. So.
Right. And as far as the environmental study, what other elements are needed to complete that?
The most important one is what we're doing now as far as the site plan and getting accurate data for that. And Holly needs that, and most specifically, at some point, probably the most, I would say, labor-intensive document will be the drainage plan with the new SQUIMP requirements, like I just mentioned. And so we'll have to put something together that's, well thought out for those particular parameters of drainage.
Okay. Is
So
that
that's
going to require additional kind of funding to do it?
I don't think so. Drainage is really, a lot of it isn't very expensive. It's mostly a lot of contouring, swales. It's site work that has to be done. We're going to be getting some good volunteer for people who have heavy equipment.
Yeah.
So we're not too concerned.
Yeah, I'm thinking more about the drainage as part of the environmental study or whatever planning you have to describe about the drainage. Will that require more kind of engineering?
Yeah, we're
work
going to
or-
need a civil engineer to sign off on that. I have a couple that I've asked that are retired civil engineers. And then there's also one that Holly recommended that we would probably do the bulk of the work, and then we would use this gentleman as a consultant to make sure that we're up to snuff with Ventura County. This one particular gentleman was in the San Bernardino area, and the other one was in the Los Angeles area.
Uh-huh.
So Ventura County is probably, similar but different.
Great. So
Yeah.
it sounds like there's a few months of work to get the environmental.
Well, last November, I was thinking that it would be a year.
Okay.
And we would be able to hopefully look at Ojai Day,
Mhm.
that we would be opening the park. But with this last sort of, like I said, hump in the road for the last few months, I'm not sure.
Right. I think just thinking one step at a time as far as when you think that environmental study would be done and.
I would think that once the survey is done, I would think that would be 2-3 months.
Okay.
That should be put in place. But Holly would really be the person that would know that for certain. But I'm trying to extract a lot of information from her so that we both get on the same page as far as process and protocol. And I just sent an email to her today asking for all the approvals and documentation so that I could put that in a list. She already provided me with a list, but because of some of the potential changes, we may need to back up just a little bit and then go forward again. But I think in a better way.
Okay.
So,
Great. Thank you for the update. Commissioners, any questions?
Oh, that's great.
How's the funding coming along?
we had some good funding. Trent Jones had raised quite a bit of money. We've got some volunteers for some of the construction. We're looking at building some momentum with some tangible progress that we could build on. So we got, again, we were really getting excited. We wanted to talk about what was happening, what was going on, and then that got a little bit, backed up. But now that we are getting some traction, we want to build on that for increasing the membership in the Ojai Valley Bike Coalition and getting funding through that way. But fortunately, this project is not a real expensive project so far. But one of the things that's going to be important is finding additional parking. So we may want to blend in to that, some things that are cost-effective and easy to do that also provide the parking that will be taken from that area.
Right, because that has been a concern, those 30 some odd parking lots that'll be lost. And there was talk about reaching out to merchants or
And that's one of the things
businesses to pick up those spots, like not getting guarantees from them, but
Mhm.
at least when you go to present it before council, you'll be able to say, hey, we're gonna lose this many spots, but
Right.
we're picking these up from these businesses or places.
And on site, not too far on site, there's lots of options there. There was an old horse facility where you could come and stop and park and then put your horse on a rail fence. I don't think that's been used at all. So we might look at that as an option for creating more parking. One of the things that I did in reassessing it was I'm looking at ways of keeping 13 spots and redesigning it so it shifts a little bit more towards the slope. And in that way, trying to account for the people who might come and use the park and keep those 13 spots, because I think it's going to be pretty, not too difficult to find another 15 or so right in that area. So that might be really,
That's
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
And what was the total, what do you estimate the total of cost of the park to be? Like,
Well, originally the coalition
I
had
know.
thought maybe $30,000 was the cost. I don't think it's going to happen for that, but for the benefit and value to what the potential cost would be, I would still consider it to be a very, easily fundable project, in my mind.
Yeah.
Based on, again, what we could create and what would be the value. So, the end value would be hard to determine until I
Right.
finish a little bit more work.
Sure, and we've heard a lot of potential in-kind
Yes.
services that still, they're a cost, but they're
Yes.
not a money funded or actual.
Yeah, we want to continue to leverage that because, this is really comes out of, a really good intention. Were you going to say something?
It was.
Yeah, I'm done.
Sorry.
You'd mentioned tweaking the design a little bit to possibly gain 10, 13, 15 spots somewhere in there. As we tweak the design, and I don't remember if on the original design, but have we had anybody look at it from, I think it's USA BMX? Have we had anybody look at that in terms of like certifying the design? I know, like Freedom Park, for instance, down in Camarillo, and there's one out in Simi, I think. And this question was actually posed to me by my neighbor who races at Freedom Park 3 days a week right now.
Oh, cool.
Their 7-year-old races 3 days a week down at Freedom Park or Simi Valley, and was dying for a track up here, obviously. But have we reached out to make sure it would be a certifiable course or for any sort of racing or anything down the line?
Toby Green had reached out to some people who were designing parks,
Okay.
and we're in that loop already.
Okay.
And so we've actually had a couple of people come forward to say that they would help.
Okay.
So that part of it, right now, it's not too concerned about that.
Of course.
But still, the details of that are going to go. Right now, we're trying to establish the infrastructure and the square footage. I went down to the skate park and tried to see what they were able to do in the square footage that they had.
Right.
Because one of the things that had been talked about was sharing the skate park with bikes. And so I thought, well, if that was the case, then, let's go down and look at it. But after seeing as many people who enjoy that facility, I don't really see that as a possibility.
Right.
But in the meantime, I wanted to measure it and see what they were able to accomplish within that square foot area. And so it's, from that standpoint of comparison, we're looking really good. And so some of the things I'm talking to you guys about, I have not shared with the coalition yet. And so they're just coming out of these on-site meetings.
Of course.
And so I don't want to speak too forward of some of these things, but there are some ideas. Hopefully they'll be, viable, and that we can, utilize them to solve some of these issues and problems.
Right.
On a parallel process, but having to do with the bike process, as council has moved forward with the idea exercising their right on the school district property, which has come out of council recently. I would love to see on there the bike park. Not to slow this process down, not to, as a parallel process, because ultimately it's a lovely location. And I was just in Capitola, and they have them right next to each other. They have a BMX park and a bike park. So not to slow down anything you're doing or to throw any roadblocks up, but I would love to see our commission just make sure that as they pursue that option, that gets on their radar.
As a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you that putting them together is lots of benefits to
It's
that.
ideal, yeah.
But I don't think that has been explored too much, and as far as my understanding.
It was, but then it was dismissed.
Okay,
It actually had kind of a start,
Okay.
and then the school district backed out on it.
I see.
So it does, there is quite a bit of history, and they have looked at it, not to the detail that they have with this plan and this location,
Mm-hmm.
because that fell apart pretty early. But I just think now that council has exercised, is put forward that they're interested at the proper timing, and there's so much that goes into this that I don't understand about this process, but I would like to make sure that we put on their radar that this is still something we'd like to do there if that becomes a possibility.
And it is.
I know
And I
they've,
know there's a couple council members that have thought about it already as well. So it would be great.
yeah.
And the way I read it in the paper, when I read the article in the paper, is that it's sort of leaning towards RFPs. The way that the school district was saying was that until they have RFPs, they don't know how to really act. So it was, again, looking like it was going to get stuck in limbo.
I would not want to hold up any part of this process at all, to be clear
Yeah.
on that. But also to be clear, that article is, to me, a confusing mix of multiple policies thrown together that aren't clearly delineated. Because what I have a very limited understanding, but there's a first right of refusal process for certain agencies,
Correct.
which comes before all of that other stuff. And so that's what will have to be handled first. How they get there, I have no idea.
Yeah, but that's a good point, and we certainly want to take that into consideration. So is there a particular person that you know of on the city council that's heading that concept or that idea or has been introduced to it?
Mr. Wyrick might be a good person
Yeah,
to
I
contact,
would-
I think.
Councilman Wyrick.
Sorry,
Okay.
Councilmember Wyrick.
Yeah, I would reach out to him.
Okay,
And I wrote a note actually as well to do the same.
okay. If you could just let him know that I would like to speak to him and get just a
Definitely.
little bit of input, that would be great.
Fantastic.
See, that's why I came.
That's right. Well, it's great.
One more question for you. Is there anything that we can do to help? as a commission?
Well, I think this is very helpful, getting involved with people who are, community leaders and having the discussion, and it's very helpful. I think that the onus has really been on the planning side of this. And so I'm happy to say that, that is finally rolling. And that's the tool that everyone's going to need to really help make these decisions about location and, expectations as far as what is it going to how big can it be and what can it provide and so on. But yeah, so this is interesting conversation.
Yeah, great.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming, giving
Yeah,
us
my
an update.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for
Good
working on
night.
this.
We can still reach out. Yeah, sure.
Okay, doesn't look like we have any presentations. No? Okay, no one from the police department?
No, I'm surprised, actually. They were here last month, ready to go. We had our opportunity then, and
Busy.
that's it, yeah.
All right, Mr. Grant could not make it tonight, so there's no public works report. A family emergency.
He did have a
Oh, no, it's
serious-
okay.
yes,
It's
he had
just-
a
I'm-
serious family emergency. I know.
Oh, no, I'm just like, oh,
I know.
we
Yeah.
got so close to it.
Approval of minutes, we still don't have these minutes, I believe.
No, we do not. And I was just talking to our records manager, Ms. Davis, and I guess with council, they're going with a different methodology on minutes as far as how they're going to be prepared, an easier, more streamlined, efficient manner. So I talked with her today about our pending minutes, those, from back in January to what's going to be another one tonight. And hopefully by the next commission meeting, we will be caught up.
Okay.
But because we're going to try to take the same streamlined methods they're using for council and apply them to our own commission.
Okay, and is that in how the minutes are formatted, or?
It's how the minutes are produced, which will mostly, I think it came from Mayor Johnston to say, we are just going to include motions. So,
Oh, that's it.
that's it. Just, I mean, there'll be some other smaller, maybe on commission, council member reports. They might give a very brief summary, and in some of the other parts of it, very, very brief summaries. But the only part that'll be in detail are the motions.
So that
The
really-
discussion part, and then any motions that come up, just the motions.
That's going to change the way we need to do business with council. Because historically, we've been rather dependent upon those minutes really reflecting the discussion to help guide decisions.
Right. You'll be wanting to make motions.
Well,
You
even
want
if
it
we
to
make
be
a
efficient,
motion, I
yeah.
think the discussion was the meat of what helped
Right.
Right.
it's just really, it's important for the
Yeah.
commission to know that.
Yes, and you'll see if you go to the, I think it's even as
The council
as
ones
early
that
as
are
the
already-
last
Mhm.
council, the last council meeting. If you go to those minutes, you'll see the bulk of it is just the motions that they carried
Okay.
in that meeting.
It will behoove
Yeah.
us to then go to the meetings more regularly and to
With-
make sure that the import of what made the decision is communicated.
Right, sounds like more communication with council
Mhm.
will be needed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for the update.
Sure.
Okay, discussion items. First one, 5-year CIP plan.
Yeah, could you grab me that?
So we have, Sophocles, did you want to walk us
Yeah,
through this?
yeah,
We've
that- Like the actual.
we've got the
I think mine slid over.
long handout here.
Yes. So, I think the last time we visited this, it was just to prioritize the list and to make sure that everything we wanted on this going through fiscal year 1920 was on the list, that nothing was missing. Greg had updated it with some recommended changes. This is a working document of Mr. Grant's. So if there's anything that isn't in the fiscal year or that feel like it should be bumped out to another fiscal year, I know there was talk of maybe some items that should be bumped out of a fiscal year and put to a later one. I'm not sure to recollection if that's true or not. So if you've had a chance to look at it and everything looks good to you, then there's really not a lot of discussion we need on this. There's, I think, we
So-
added the turf hill in there, it looks like.
So, but first of all, by my count, there's 4 items, correct me if I'm wrong, please, that are in 16, 17 that are mostly likely going to slide because they're not complete. The bike park,
Right?
the Field 1 light poles,
Mhm.
the courtyard shade.
They're still looking to do that
Wait a
before
minute,
end of fiscal year.
Courtyard, oh, with the courtyard shade?
Yeah.
That.
That's
They're looking to
happening.
do that before
That-
summer.
It's not happening?
No,
Oh,
it's
happening.
it's still in the works. It's
Yeah.
happening. They
No, I
came
know.
out a little while ago, month ago, did some measurements. As you may or may not know, we'll get to CrossFit maybe when the time comes. Or I don't know if we've told you that CrossFit is no longer with us. You know that, or you don't know that.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, we
I
discussed
think you
it.
mentioned it last
Last
meeting.
meeting.
but I
Oh.
wasn't there.
we did in
It
the
was last
informal.
month, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which could have some, not the courtyard shade, but that's a
Which is a
different-
separate
That's a
issue.
different shade,
Yeah.
but the shade over the CrossFit area, now we don't know quite how
that
eminent
area's
that
gonna be
is or
used.
how.
Yeah.
That was the 4th one on my list.
Oh, yeah, oh, were we getting there?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, CrossFit is no longer with us, and now the question is it still a necessity? We still have our strength training program with the seniors and the teens,
But
and they do
Yeah, as of now, the
They-
seniors aren't using that area,
No.
but I imagine he might with the teens in the
But-
fall, so.
Yeah, the teens do from time to time.
So it sounds like it'd be a good question to ask staff who might be using that space, how they're going to use it and how much. That would
Right.
help influence whether it's
Right.
something we need to do now or later when we figure out how we're going to use it a little more.
But the courtyard
Courtyard is happening, right?
Shade
Okay,
is-
good.
happening.
Before
Much-
summer programming,
Well,
so
what
we're
we've
in
been
the
told.
countdown here.
That's the
Yes.
idea.
Just like the north lot. Is the north lot on there?
I think it's on a different list.
It's not.
Oh,
yeah,
the
it's
north
on
lawn is over
Oh.
by the,
It is.
Picnic
It's on
area? Okay.
No, the north parking lot.
Yeah.
It is on a different list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 'cause
Did you
that's
say
the-
by the picnic area? Yeah.
well, you said the north lawn, so yes.
Lot.
Yes, that
Oh,
is the one
lot,
by the.
not lawn.
Lot.
Okay.
Not lawn. North.
Oh, lot,
sorry.
yes.
Okay, sorry.
It's my East Coast. Every now and then, my East Coast pronunciation comes up. It's the
The
north.
parking lot,
the
which is
north
on
parking
the
lot,
repaving plan, which is not on our plan.
which is
Correct.
not on this plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
But
Still
it
on
is
the
still
plan.
slated
Yeah.
before
but
end of
it's
fiscal
still
year.
slated. We had conversation
Or
about
summer
that.
camp starts.
Yes.
So there are two things to follow up on because
Yeah.
summer camp is almost here.
They were
The
out-
shade and the paving.
Well, they were out there today, actually, Ruben and our new senior
Oh,
Public Works
very nice.
employee, Miguel Contreras is his name. They were out there today, and once they got out there, it was like, well, should we really just coat this, slurry
Slurry it,
seal it,
mhm.
coat it, and then it really, what they felt like, and I think what they were leaning toward in their recommendation is a remove and repave.
Which is a bigger
plan.
project than what's slated.
Bigger project.
Which
was
then
slated,
begs
which
the
is more
question
money,
again.
Which begs the question again, should we do it? And if we do, that's probably a project that
Won't happen as quickly.
won't happen as quickly. So we'll see what their recommendation is. And maybe at the next Park and Rec Commission meeting when Greg is here, that'll be on the public work update list. But, okay, we can get back to this.
You asked about things we were going to push, because this wasn't last meeting, but the meeting before that, or the meeting before that we discussed this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the reason I ask is because the dollars are slotted in 16, 17.
Right.
So then if we're going to push them, like the bike park and the Field 1 pole lights, and if, frankly now, if the workout shade area is not going to happen, or if we find that it's not something that we need right away, do we want to float that $1,500 into something else before the end of the fiscal year, like gymnastics that's already slated for 17, 18? Do we want to throw them a little money now if we're able to? Or is the Boyd Courtyard Shade actually $7,500, not $5,000? Couple things that we should probably look at before the end of the year, especially if those are easy projects that are going to be done, and the Boyd Courtyard Shade is still tentatively a go for this year. The other two are obviously larger projects that would be pushed. There's no way they'll get done in the next couple months, but my point is that $1,500 for the workout shade area, if we're not going to do it, let's throw it somewhere else while we have it. I mean, it doesn't hurt.
We're allowed to do that?
We're allowed to recommend anything
We can
we'd like.
recommend that we should. do that.
I follow your logic.
Yes.
So I go by the logic, if you don't use it, you lose it. And
Frequently happens.
exactly, which can happen.
Yeah, I think for an amount like that.
Exactly. It's small enough that maybe we capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Unless the seniors are going to use it. I know that's a growing program.
Or teen,
Yeah.
or teen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
there.
something we should find out, but maybe if it's not going to be done, we jump on it and,
Because the other thing is $1,500.
Right.
We can find
Yeah.
another year, another time.
gymnastics could
Well,
all.
and-
But
They
more,
can use it right now.
more
Yeah, and
significantly, the two that you mentioned, the light poles and the bike park, that's
Well, but
$76,000.
as I understand it, that money will be held for it to be used moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, like that money stays allocated to those
Okay.
projects.
Mhm.
Correct, Sophocles?
Or-
As you understand it?
Or if you're going to move that, if you're not going to do that project.
Well, But he's saying like the
It would
So the
fall
light
forward.
poles,
The
for
light
light
example.
That's
poles
what I'm
and something
saying.
like that, like that's gonna stay
If-
allocated to the light poles.
I would think so. You're just going to move it out further.
Yeah.
I don't think that money is, I'm not sure that all that money is just sitting there waiting to be used is the thing. because the light poles have been talked about for a long time.
Well, but
And it's
I-
not, but it's not like I'm not aware of the fact that there's that reserve of money, that if we didn't do that in this fiscal year and you said, okay, push it out to 1920, well, now in that 56,000 that's still sitting there, now we've got that 56,000 to do X with. I don't think it's like that.
Okay. So there's maybe some small opportunities, it sounds like, but these bigger things wouldn't
Yeah.
really,
Pushed anyways, yeah.
But I could be wrong about that 56.
okay,
And the person best to answer that was Mr. Grant.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So that's 16, 17, then then we jump into 17, 18, obviously.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So some of the things I have is that it looks, obviously a lot of the money is being taken up by some infrastructure things, some housekeeping things, and the Libby Bowl,
Mhm.
which, okay, you know, the Boyd roof, the steep section, you know, if it's gotta get done, it's gotta get done. You know, the sewer line, and what was the other one? The restrooms. A lot of the money is being gobbled up by other things that sounds like just kind of need to happen. And the Libby Bowl, whether the lawn regrading needs to happen or not, it's being pushed along, so that's that. And that would be my other comment, is regarding any of that 56,000 or whatever. If we don't use it, it's going to get used for something else, would be my assumption.
Right.
My assumption is it's going to be used for Libby. I mean,
That project.
if that project goes over 250, say it's 285, it's going to be used for that.
They need to find the money.
Right. So what's going to get knocked down is the field pole lights or something, because Libby Bowl makes money, you know, and that,
Well,
yeah,
Do
well,
we have
So do my
a,
fields.
yes, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree,
but
Not
actually.
nearly as much.
do we have, I know we discussed this earlier, but do we have a breakdown of what the 250 is going into for the lawn regrading? I know there's survey, there's actual crews out there. I mean, how much of it is going to city employees to do this, and how much is going to survey companies?
I know with that number, when it's been bantered around, that's only, a lot of it's in kind.
Yeah.
That actually does, I don't know how, I couldn't tell you where it's broken down and who it's getting paid to, but a lot of it's, there's going to be a lot of, to even get to that number, to be able to do it, is a lot of in-kind labor and services.
Okay.
I think the project was a lot more than that without that. But I don't have real numbers.
Right.
It's all
And that's-
pretty new.
Right, and that's why I think, though, that it's going to come in more than they're anticipating anyways. I mean, we'll see. So, but getting back to my thoughts, if you take out everything that needs to get done for various reasons, you're left with a few things that, you know, are, I guess, sort of rec related, I would say, you know. You have the outdoor basketball lights, you have the ball field renovations, and you've got gymnastics equipment and the turf hill.
And
New playground.
And the new playground, yes, sorry.
The beginning of the funding for
The
that, which
beginning
would
of that.
probably be the planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would seem like the turf hill, if we're gonna fix it, that gets bumped up to a higher priority anyways. If you're gonna fix it, that's the time to expand it.
Right, and that's why
Yeah.
they slotted the 12,000.
Right. So then in terms of prioritizing the rest of the stuff, gymnastics, outdoor basketball, futsal, ball field, and playground.
I really like the idea of giving gymnastics 10,000 this year.
So, yeah, yeah.
I'd love to do that, because we keep putting it off. We wanted to do it this year.
And the ball field, the field one pole lights, they're not gonna get done this year, well, obviously.
Timing wise.
Chances are they're probably not gonna get done next year. I mean, because we're talking, what did we talk about with Greg last time?
Yeah.
Light studies, the actual master plan now. I mean, we could easily take of that 56,000, we could take 10 and give it to gymnastics now maybe,
Mhm.
or recommend that we give to gymnastics now. Sorry.
That's okay, you
Um,
can make that.
Well, and if you look at it, if you look at the breakdown, Fund 31 is $28,000.
Mm-hmm.
Other funds is $28,000.
Right.
So what that is, I would bet that's outside sources for the
Right.
other funds.
Yeah.
In the 28,000 is out of Fund 31.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be interesting to see if we could pursue other funds for the gymnastics equipment too.
Yeah. Well, they do a ton of fundraising on their own, obviously.
No, I mean
so-
with other, larger donor bases that,
Uh-huh.
places that we've gone to get grant money for other parks kinds of things.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see if that's something we could do.
So
But I think it's a great recommendation.
I think if you look at the list for 17, 18, there's a lot on there. There's what is there? $700,000+. Obviously, not everything is going to get done. It'd be nice if we could slot gymnastics in this
You
year.
will see a lot of use out of that $10,000. It'll be a well-used
I-
$10,000.
I don't doubt it. I mean, after talking to them and listening to them, and I mean the success they have with the equipment they have now, I mean, I'm sure they would make that go a long ways.
Right, that sounds like, something we definitely want to recommend spending money on, and the timing is flexible, and the sooner the better, it sounds
Plus,
like.
you're not going to have the money next year.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a
and
good idea.
I would say, I mean, if you look at the rest of the list, you figure probably Sarasota gets bumped out, a year, unfortunately.
So how do you mean that? What do you mean?
I mean, the new playground,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
then I would,
at 340.
but then you look at, so then you're really down to two projects, like the ball field renovation and the outdoor courts, no lights, I mean, and so I don't know. No, I mean the 20K from 17, 18.
So what you're suggesting is to do the gymnastics now, or make a
Mhm.
recommendation to do that now. Any other suggestions about shifting something sooner to later? Or-
No, I think we leave it in if we have it, great, but the
Well-
gut feeling is we won't have it,
Yeah.
based
The-
off of everything else they got going on.
The
here.
other thing see, that's the, okay, so
What do you think?
no, the turf field is other funds. And that has more to do with staff timing than it does to do, I think, with money.
Right, I think so. It sounded like it from
Mhm.
Greg.
Because the Fund 31 is the one that has the.
So it sounds like we're getting close to a motion here. Other thoughts, suggestions?
No?
Would you like to
Anybody?
make a motion?
So I would like to make a motion that we recommend spending $10,000 from fiscal year 17, 18 and moving it to Fund 31 for 16, 17.
Okay, do we have a second?
Hold on, question on that motion.
Yes.
Actually, I think you're asking for it to be moved from one project to another in 16, 17, aren't you? Because
Yeah.
basically, there's 28,000 from Fund 31 allocated to
You take it
Field
from the
1
field-
light poles, and to
take
move
it from the field
10,000
pole.
out of that to gymnastics, and then to strike, or leave the 10,000 for next year for equipment. 'Cause
Yeah. Yeah, we could leave
Yeah.
it in there.
they
too,
could
but-
easily use 10,000 next year too. So that's either way. I'm not making it, It's your motion, sorry.
I like, can we do it? Because I like that one
Yeah.
better. All right, scratch that. I would like to make a motion to take $10,000 out of the Fund 31 fiscal year 16, 17 from the field pole lights and put it into gymnastics for Fund 31 fiscal year 16, 17
And that's for equipment.
for equipment, leaving 18,000 in Field 1 lights for fiscal year 16, 17. And also leaving 10,000 for gymnastics in 17, 18.
Okay, I got the gist of it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right.
Now can we discuss the motion real quick?
Yes, discussion.
Which we don't always have to do, but I have a question. It's fine. I think it doesn't affect it. Never mind.
Okay,
Good.
any questions, discussion? All right, let's take a vote.
We can do all those in favor. I can go
All those
individually
in
if you'd like.
favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, now I have another question. In 1718, that money is coming out of other fund. So just a question for Greg or for whoever's putting this together. Is there a reason it wasn't coming out of Fund 31 in 1718? And do we have to bring that money from somewhere else, or can Fund 31 be used for that? That is just a question to ask Greg after this
Okay.
goes forward, because just for clarification purposes. I don't think anyone here has an answer.
Yeah, I don't.
So, just a question.
Okay. Anything else on the 5-year CIP plan?
I'd love to bring it back next month as well,
Okay.
just because I think it's great to talk to Greg directly about timing. We're making guesses on a lot of things here, just because we know where he put it. For some of the stuff, it's really clear why it's where it is. Other things that might be a little less clear for us, why here and not there.
Yeah, okay.
So, since we'll have him here for bathrooms,
Yeah,
When we get to the end of the meeting, we'll
Yeah.
revisit and add
That's just-
it on there.
yeah,
Sure.
future agenda items.
Yeah, and, yeah, because the workout area shade, getting back to that, where the CrossFit area is at 1,500, I'm just seeing, that number just seems low to me, actually.
yeah,
If the courtyard area between the gym and the Boyd Center is 5,000, I'm not quite seeing how we can get away with 1,500 on the.
So we'll just bring
I'm
it
not
back.
an
We'll bring it
engineer
back for
either, but
discussion
I'm
next time when we
Not sure
have.
how 15,
Right.
how it can be just
Right.
1,500 for that. but-
So the request for staff between now and next month is to get a sense of what that space would be used for, who's going to use it, what their needs
Yeah.
are, and then roughly what would it cost to actually
Yeah.
satisfy those needs.
Right.
Yes. Not just to put a tarp over the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, unless that's.
Yeah.
Unless that works.
Okay. Anything else on 5-year CIP plan? Okay. So because Mr. Grant is not here, we are not going to have him to go over the restroom concepts. I will say, though, as he's discussed with us before, there are these three competing concepts that he wanted to discuss with us, and I had asked that he provide us kind of an understanding of the physical footprint of each, a description of what they are, the cost, the pros and cons, so that we could provide feedback. So I think he's working on that and just couldn't make it to the meeting.
Yeah, I think he had some proposals.
Yeah.
actually.
So if
Some actual, I think, hard copy
right, like plans.
plans.
Yeah.
That he could share. but-
Right.
We table it for next time. Bring
So
it back.
right. Although if there's any questions that or things you'd like Mr. Grant to be prepared for next month, now's a good time to throw them out there. I gave him my list, but if there's other things that
Now
you
that
have
if
on
he
your
already
mind.
has it done, if he would shoot it to us ahead of time.
Okay.
That's always nice to be able to look at it, because
Right.
then you have more intelligent questions.
Yeah.
Those plans and designs, those things that he's already got ready.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Moving on, budget review for fiscal year 16-17 and 17-18.
Okay, you have those preliminary, as you can read up at the top, these numbers are preliminary, cannot be relied upon, but determine the actual budget for fiscal year 17-18. And as for some of the new commissioners, or our newest commissioner, our fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th. So we're nearing the end of fiscal year 16-17. So June 30th will end fiscal year 16-17, and then July 1st will move us into 17-18. So the last column that you see are revenue estimates for proposed budget for the next fiscal year, 17-18. In the center, you'll see it'll say fiscal year 16-17 year-to-date actual. So you can go down that list and see where we are currently, and then the estimated annual, what we're figuring we'll finish the fiscal year 16-17 at. And those aren't always perfect, accurate numbers because, for example, youth basketball, I'll give you that. Where is that up top there? Help me out, Allison. That's right in the center. 010.
With all the other youths?
014 is all of the last three digits. So you go across and you can also, this chart is nice because you can see, okay, fiscal year, it's nice if it's higher, it's not so nice if it's lower, but you'll see fiscal year
You
15.
picked a bad one, boss.
I know, I did pick a bad one. Fiscal year 16 was 28,691, and you'll see it says, well, right now we're at 22,628, and our estimated annual will be 23,533. Well, it won't. It's just going to finish. It's done. That is this.
No longer taking revenue for
No,
that.
we're not taking registration till the next fiscal year. So this is where this is going to end. And the same is true. Sorry
So,
to jump far. Oh, go ahead.
And I go to one
Go ahead,
column
you
more,
take
so
it.
then you've
Yeah.
adjusted your budget request.
Yeah,
And
so
so, okay.
you'll see the budget request for next fiscal year. We said, okay, 23,000 for youth basketball, based on, of course, what we made
For revenues.
for 16-17. And then you'll see, well, let me find a more,
Well, in the column to the left of the current actual is the revised budget. So that's what, the beginning of this fiscal year, that's what we went into the year thinking that we would be making for each one.
yeah, I'm trying to find an example of where it would be opposite, where
Gymnastic,
money coming in. No, gymnastics is probably
they
right
estimated
on.
high.
How about
Yeah,
the
they got
highlighted
91.
one, the after-school programs?
Okay, so I highlighted that. That was
I
my,
figured.
that was my copy, but you got, But
Oh,
anyway.
I was like, I don't have it
So the
highlighted.
after school,
Mine's highlighted, everybody.
so you'll see the actual, year-to-date actual on the after-school program is 56,474, and it will, that could be the same, that will be pretty accurate because the fiscal year will end on June 30th, so we'll really be losing a month there because
Right.
2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
Couple weeks, actually, not a month. Yeah, just a couple weeks there of revenue. So it won't be.
We'll likely
That's
be
why they're
closer to
saying these are
70
just
though.
preliminary numbers because those estimated annual ending amounts might be a bit lower, and there may be. No, I don't. They may be higher, but just on a big number picture, if you go to the second page and you look at the bottom line recreation program revenues. So
Middle of
you'll
the
see
page.
our adopted budget, I'll go all the way from the first column. 14-15, the revenues we brought in that fiscal year were 521. 15-16, it was 513. We adopted the conservative 16-17 budget at 460. Revised budget was the same. We didn't change it. And right now, as of, so this is period 09. So that's April. That would be March. This is through March. These numbers. Yeah. So we're at 446. It's estimated annual at 627. So that's quite a jump from the 513. And again, I think it will be less than 627, but it will be close. But that's mostly due to the after-school program.
But for me, the big change is that the estimated budget for 16-17 was 460,215. We've jumped to an estimated
Finish.
proposed budget of 522,600.
Right.
It's a 13.5% increase expectations on revenues.
It's a sizable
Right.
jump.
Sizable jump.
It is a big jump. And I would attribute it to the after-school program because you'll see in the 16-17 budget, it wasn't it wasn't included in there.
Because we didn't have it,
So
it's a new
We
program.
didn't have it, it's a new program.
We're also working on raising fees across the board too. For most of our programs, we're working on keeping up to date by raising a lot of our fees so that,
Is that in response to this?
no, so that's
No.
in response to the, just cost of living increases, minimum wage increases,
The fee schedule.
Yeah.
everything increases.
I wouldn't, maybe it's not quite
Maybe not
across the board.
but-
It's not quite across the board, a few of the programs, and we are talking very.
Oh, yeah, minimal change.
No,
like-
it's okay.
Yeah, no,
So-
it's good for you to know, because I thought at some point we were
We
gonna
did
talk
address,
about
we
fees.
did address it
We
at one
did.
point.
With
A little bit.
programming fees.
I don't think we dove in too deep.
No, we
We
didn't.
I think it was kind of this is going to be on the horizon.
Let's talk about it sometime.
Yeah. So the 56,000, help me out on this, sorry, for the after-school program is, you're saying that the actual will be, we're not done yet, so you're going to get a small chunk more?
Yes.
Correct.
So
Okay.
he, of course, did it, the best I can estimate is, he went from what we have now to the remaining months we had and divided that into it.
So part
12.
of that won't, but school's out in,
Right.
Yeah, we lose a
you're
couple.
basically estimating a month that isn't in there.
Yeah.
Almost.
Couple.
Yeah,
weeks.
a
So the-
little.
Yeah,
The-
it's
the annual's gonna
closer
be
to-
somewhere
you're
It's actually a
between-
month and a half,
It's
at
really
least.
closer to a month. Well, the school ends June 13th.
Okay,
13th.
Right around there,
Fiscal year
in
ends
that
June
week.
30th.
okay,
So
so it's just that little piece there.
Right.
All
a
right.
little,
So-
it is a small piece.
You can look at it, I mean, the final is going to be somewhere in between the year-to-date actual and the annual, which is pretty much exactly what the change.
It's, the
in
75
budget
million,
is.
And I am semi-notorious for throwing out my own predictions on where I think it's going to finish. And I've been cautioned against that, but I'm.
He does it anyway.
But I still do it anyway. I think it's gonna finish at about 600 if I was, our final year revenues will finish at 600 is what I'm estimating at.
Okay.
We'll see how close I get. You can hold me to that number.
It'll be in the minutes.
Yes, it will.
No, it will not.
Oh, if actually.
We need to
yeah.
make a motion.
Oh, wow.
It's not a
Just
motion.
Did I hear a
just
motion?
Must make a note.
Yeah. Well, it funny.
Our minutes are going to be
We-
real brief.
I know, they will be, but it's funny that you should mention it because what are still considered minutes or what will be held on electronically for years and years are
The
are
tapes,
the
yeah.
tapes and the audio. If the tape doesn't work, we have this audio.
And it's really
now
not a tape
running through
anyway.
our meetings.
Great.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but do you have any questions about the revenue, and then we can look at expense just a bit?
Pottery
Similarly,
added a nice little kick
Yeah.
Yep.
as well.
Potter added a nice kick, but you'll also notice that
On the expense side?
CrossFit.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we've lost CrossFit, which had a nice little revenue pocket. So I think potentially, yeah, pottery won't quite rise to the level of the revenue that CrossFit brought in, of course. But
Okay.
Pottery is not the new CrossFit.
pottery is not the new CrossFit, but.
We just
but
don't
it
have enough
could-
hours in
but
there.
it-
We
no,
don't have
I know.
access to the
But I'll tell
facilities
you, it
enough.
could be. It
It
is
could be.
really just continuing
signed
to
up.
blossom, and we saw that.
Need a
We-
club.
saw that you
Continuing to
signed up.
blossom and
You should do Wednesdays. that's
extremely
where I
well.
am.
He'll be offering, he's not offering camps in the summer, but he's offering a class in
Yeah.
the summer.
Great.
Couple of days, yeah.
Yeah,
So, anything else on revenue?
revenue, yeah. Yeah, it's all pretty straightforward. A lot of the numbers are pretty consistent as far
Mhm.
as the revenues each of the classes are bringing in, and
Right. Okay. Well,
pretty
should we go on to-
consistent.
Wilderness is always
Expenditures?
another exciting one.
What, which one?
They're saying wilderness is always another
Yeah.
exciting one. It's on the second page.
Mhm.
Been very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have. That's also
so
another
move
great
on to
new program.
expenditures. Oh,
Okay, expense. So you'll see everything there, the salary. So 1501 is Parks and Rec Commission. All the money that you guys cost the city, which isn't even a
Minimal.
drop for what you give back to the city.
it's a bargain.
So that's basically, when you see those expenses, that's staff's time allotted to the commission, basically. 1502 is admin time. So that would include my admin time, Allison, and even, so there's regular, that means full-time admin. And then you see at the top of the page, so you see salaries, regular admin, that would be me, Allison, Vicky, and then salaries, part-time admin, that would be the rec specialist, administrative assistant, Christy Burgess, rec specialist, that we have office staff. And then you'll see other expenses there that we have really very little control over, the PERS, the Social Security, unemployment. Any questions there on that page of 1502?
So the kind of total staff salaries is divvied up, so some of that is
So there's 1501,
1501,
then there's
so-
1502 admin costs, and then you'll see you'll see the gas and the water, that's for the Boyd Center, electricity, that's for, all our facilities. Well, gas and water too, for not just the Boyd Center, but the gymnasium as well. Contract services, just what it says, that's the photocopying contract, which again, we don't really have any direct control over.
Sure.
And then you'll see Ojai Day there. Labor costs is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what went on there. Seems to be out of skew amount-wise. It's only showing 758, and again, that's over. That
Mhm.
that event is done for that fiscal year, and it's only showing 758, whereas the labor costs in 14-15 were 11.3, and then somehow in 15-16 it was 1,082, and then we adopted a budget for 13,000, and we ended up spending 758. So, if you, I drew your attention to that, but I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay.
Some of these other costs have been pretty consistent. So we raised the facility maintenance budget a bit, because you'll see in 15-16 we spent 12,870. We proposed, it was significantly more in 14-15. We adopted a budget of 12,000. It says we're going to finish at 10,313, but we will spend
We will use
all
our
of that 12 and then some. I mean, that's ball field dirt if we need it, but some of that is not just ball field dirt. Obviously, it's many different itemized costs for facility maintenance. And then you'll see 1503. Those are program. So when Allison, myself, Vicky, those are where it says salaries regular. That's full-time
Can I ask a quick question?
programming costs. Sure.
From above?
Yeah.
We just had did you already talk about this, sorry, the big equipment expense of 37,540? There was a transfer out that was new this year? It's
Well,
900.
I think that's the new vehicle.
Okay,
I think
great, that
that's
makes
the-
perfect sense.
Yeah.
The new van.
I think
Yeah,
that's
the
the
new
new
van.
van.
So what is the, sorry, so 1502 is the department, 1503 is program, so it's.
Yeah,
kind of administrative.
1503 is administrative. And
1502 is
department-
program.
And 1503 is specifically programming.
Okay. Got
So once again,
Okay.
you see salaries regular,
Yeah.
that's our, again, full-time staff, Vicky, Allison, myself,
Right.
for programming. And then you'll see salaries part-time, that's the after-school program staff and any other basketball staff,
Gymnastics.
gymnastics
and
staff,
Wilderness,
yeah,
anything.
any of our part-time staff, seasonal or year-round.
Okay.
No overtime.
You could see no overtime, never. Not that we expected. And then just all the other extra costs, you can see that overhead is quite a bit for PERS and Social Security. Of course, that's just full-time staff, but those costs are constant costs, whether it's on 15-0, you look at 1503, it's the estimated annual in 1503 for all those fringe benefits is 118,466.
Right.
And then back to 1502, it's 3648. Do you see that?
Mhm.
So it's that overhead is quite a bit. So we'll get to the bottom line if you want to go all the way to the last page. We're currently at 708,870, saying the estimated annual is going to finish at 965,722, which is higher than it's ever been. Well, all I can mostly attribute that larger number to is the after-school program and the staffing costs there.
Salaries, yes.
And
And
Why-
just
about-
minimum wage going up and PERS costs going up and
Right.
all those fringe benefit costs.
Do you know about what the cost of the after-school program is?
Where,
It's on this
If-
page.
Yeah, it's on here.
It's,
We projected a cost.
well, you won't really,
On the second to
you
last page.
you'll see it, but that's just
That doesn't include
materials.
staff
Okay.
time.
That doesn't include
Not
staff
staffing.
time, so it's very small amount. You'll see, estimated annual at 2315, but that's just materials.
Right.
There's snacks for the
Yeah, no,
children and
I think
stuff
kind
like
of,
that.
it's,
It's not the staffing costs, but, so we can pull that number out, look, as far as the staffing costs go, to see and add it to materials to see, okay, what was the revenue? What were the
Right.
staffing costs and
Yeah.
materials for that?
Yeah.
And how did we do?
right,
And we've looked at that actually
Okay.
already, and there's I caution, I'm not even gonna say we're ahead, because when we calculated that number, Allison's time was in it, and the staff working directly the program were calculated in that number. So we were maybe $4,000 or $5,000 over. But of course, that didn't take into account any of my time, actually, because I didn't put in any of my time to the after-school program. None of the office staff, aside of Allison, none of the office staff allotted
But
their
it's-
time
Which
specifically.
we don't usually do for any
We don't do it for
programs.
any
it's a
program.
good
now.
indicator that you're on track and that
We
what
are.
you're charging is a reasonable rate and that it's
Right.
working out well for both parties.
It is.
Yeah, and that's exactly where you want to be.
That is the bottom line, is it's where it should be.
To keep it as
in
reasonable as you
relation-
can.
In relation
Yeah.
to all the other programs as far as cost recovery
Right.
is concerned.
well, it's-
The cost recovery standard that we use against other programs is the same with this program, and it's doing
You're right on
fine.
track.
We're right on track.
And I think
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
yeah, that's,
and I don't know if we mentioned it, but we plan on doing it again
Oh, good.
next
You
year.
are going to offer it again next year.
We will. We do plan on bumping the fee up mildly. It's $10 per day. We don't differentiate. So for 4 hours, it's $10. We're gonna raise it to $12 next year.
I would hope, I just think, I'd like to keep that as
As low as
reasonable and as low
Yeah.
as possible,
We-
because
we
it has
agree.
added benefit of doing a lot more
Yeah.
than, it's,
We agree.
yeah, so if
We
we
are
could
gonna
stay on topic,
Yes.
sorry. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
with the expenditures, is there anything else that you wanted to point out?
No. Nope. Unless you
So
have
it
any
seems
other
like
questions.
as far as the big increase in expenditure is attributed to the after-school program and then increased
Staff
um,
costs.
staff
Yeah.
costs.
Yes, it's increased staff
van.
costs. Yes,
Van,
in the
yeah.
van.
It's like
Yes.
$38,000.
Oh, yeah, $37,000.
To round up, I mean,
That's true.
it's not
That's the-
inconsequential.
Right, so it
It's
seems
not,
like
it's-
any
it's-
other differences are pretty small change compared to those three things in the expenditures.
Yep, it is those three things, and I would, side of the van, yeah, the minimum wage going up, really, it makes the whole pay range have to bump up.
Yeah.
And that's gonna continue.
Mm-hmm. That can be
Potentially.
planned for.
Yes, we need to, yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Any other questions on the budget? And if you see anything going forward, by all means, send an email saying, wow, that number looks wrong, or
Yeah.
do you want to put, don't you think we need more in marketing and advertisement? Is that enough?
And you bumped it, which I thought was good.
We did.
I was looking at it, it was
We did bump it to 33 or
30,
something. to that.
35, from 33 to
35?
35, which is good.
35, yeah. We need that.
Well, and I think it's providing a good return for what we're putting into it. It's
I
been
think-
really
I
helpful.
think so.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for going through this. I got a primer from Sophocles last month.
Yeah.
Really helpful,
Yeah.
understanding this stuff. So you mentioned you have looked at with the after-school program, the cost recovery. Do you do that with most programs or all programs, or?
Yeah, we do it with, I would say, all programs. The contracted classes are easy.
Yeah.
The majority of our instructors, as you may or may not know, are on a 65-35 split. The contractor gets 65. The city retains 35% of all collected fees. What the fees that the contractor doesn't have access to or percentage of are the out-of-city fee. They don't get that, or what we call our prorated service fee on a class. They don't get that either. They get
Yeah.
just the actual cost of the class.
Mhm. For another meeting, when we get to it, it might be interesting to see that process that you guys go through of evaluating. programs.
Gymnastics definitely carries its weight. Now, that's not a contracted
No.
class. That is a all hourly employee-run program, just like basketball is. But those programs cost recover. I mean,
Yeah.
with the staff that are directly working that program.
Mhm.
Then you've got overhead like me and office staff.
Right.
I think
And-
that would be a
and
nice discussion item.
City Hall.
Yeah.
And City Hall costs, if you will. And all the admin that takes to
Mhm.
process checks and
Right.
process disbursements and, but that's, if you factored all that in, you'd have to charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars for
And
programs.
that's why we pay taxes and collect
That's why
sales
you
tax
ta-
and do
That's
bed
why
tax.
you do all those things. Yes, that's
We all
right.
participate in a variety of ways.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're paying for it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
Good.
thank you,
Yeah.
Sophocles.
sure.
Anything else on budget?
No, good.
Okay, teen and adult programming.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Okay.
Commissioner
So,
Gilbert?
in March, I can't remember the date, we had our first youth committee meeting at Sarasota, and we discussed some classes and activities that we could do with teens and even younger kids. And I didn't bring my list, but I remember them if you guys want me to tell you the ideas we came up with.
Yeah.
The most popular one I feel like was the how to adult class, because everyone especially at Nordhoff complains that we're not learning how to do taxes or cook food, and a lot of kids are like, how am I going to survive college if I don't know how to do all this stuff? And so we thought a really great program to do was to have like maybe volunteer parents come in and like teach kids how to do certain things that they need to do in order to live, because taxes are important apparently.
Yeah, and I actually had, kind of along those lines, I hadn't shared this with you yet, but I had a meeting with one of the people who's really big with Inspire in Ohio. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a kind of like a grassroots type campaign of people that are working to support the school district. And so it's a bunch of women in the valley that got together and said, we want to support our school district. And they've been gathering volunteers. They go and they read to kids. They bring cookies to the teachers, that kind of stuff. And she approached me at the rec department to see how they could support. And one of the things I had talked about was, you know, that we'd been working on trying to get some teen program off the ground. And she said that they have a lot of potential great volunteers for stuff like that, like professionals in the valley that could come in and speak to those kinds of things. So I think that we could definitely kind of network and partner with them to try to offer something like that, which would be
It could
really
almost
cool.
be like a workshop series.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could pick the ones, because I know one of the things we come back to with team programming is it's hard to get them to commit to a whole class because of their
Yeah,
schedules.
yeah.
So
If
it
we
might
did
be
like a
better as
workshop this day and-
There's a series, pick the ones you're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't have to commit to a whole month, couple
Yeah.
months.
For sure.
That's a great idea. That's great.
And then the other thing that I talked to her about is potentially this summer, and so we've put it out there, is to try and get volunteers to open up the game room, like on like a Friday or Saturday nights a couple times a month. So that way it can just be a place to go and play pool and ping pong and hang out on a Saturday night. And I mean, a lot of high schoolers would just be allowed to, do that on their own, but some high schoolers might not, their parent might not be comfortable with them just being out if they're not a designated place. So we thought that would be cool. So we've put it out to the Inspire volunteer group. There's about like 120 people on that list. So now we're just waiting to see what kind of response we get from them to see if we can get a volunteer base to start doing something like that.
That's great.
I thought so. I was really excited when she came to me.
The other two classes that were big ones were like an improv class or some sort of drama workshop. I noticed theater is really big at Nordhoff. We actually stage managed a play, and we were chosen to go to the International Thespian Festival, which has really created a large fan base for our theater group now. And a lot of kids are wondering like I'm stressed, I need to get out my emotions, and improv is a really great way to do that. And yoga is also, like, teen yoga class would be great. We actually have a yoga club on campus, and a lot of people can't go to it, though, because it's during lunch, and most of the time you're talking with teachers during lunch or going to other things. So having a class where kids could come to instead of having to, spend their school time going to it would be great.
Now, on that, I'm curious about where they'd want it. Do you think it's better at the rec, or is this something that would be a good partnership to try and partner with Nordhoff to have on their campus and their facilities, from your perspective?
I don't think Nordhoff has a big enough space, maybe the gym, but it's just not
It's
an
always
ideal
busy.
space, yeah.
Okay, all right, so it wouldn't really work to have it there, but you think people would come for, if it's
Yeah.
at the rec?
Yeah, I mean, they
Great.
could just bring their yoga mats and we could,
I have a contact for improv. Because
cool.
OES did it for a while and they had numbers, but not great numbers, and the
Yeah.
teacher was excellent, so I'll share
Okay.
that with you. I have
Cool.
to say that's one of my daughter's favorite classes she's ever taken were her improv classes, so. And great skills for kids. You're developing such good, it's quick thinking and.
I also want to do an interview skills, in that workshop series, so we should partner improv with interview
Yes.
skills.
I have a question for you. For people getting ready to be college-bound, who are needing to take SAT prep or things like that, is that something that would be helpful if the rec could organize that? Because I feel like in Ojai, we really don't have that handled. And so
It's not done through the school?
it's very hit or miss, and it's limited.
there are a few programs that are not run by the school, but run by partnerships with the school, and usually they cost a lot of money and are on days kids can't come,
Can't go.
so.
I was thinking if we could find a contractor that might be able to do it, if we could get the right numbers, it would be something to look into.
Yeah.
The other thing for kids going off to college is the FAFSA, like your financial aid stuff. There are people who are experts on that, and that's a place where the rec could possibly find a contractor to come in who's qualified to address that.
Yeah,
And maybe
you could
with
do it in a
numbers, we could
workshop.
afford, I actually know of one contact that you could look to that does this professionally. And then maybe with enough numbers, more people could benefit from that. Because I think individually, it's very expensive. Not everyone's going to have the funds to hire some of those firms, but they're very helpful
Yeah.
in helping, because it's a very complicated time. So I think for teens, that seems to me
Yeah.
a place that maybe the rec could, I don't know if they'd be interested though. So that's the question, to go back to to your group is,
Oh.
if those were provided, would people be interested in taking advantage of it?
Definitely. Like, my mother is the college and career counselor at Nordhoff, so she's constantly dealing with scholarships. And the problem with Nordhoff is it's a very small campus, and there's nowhere for a large group of students to go. And for the most part, there's probably 100 to 200 students who need to sign up for FAFSA and other scholarships, and we just don't have the space to do it. So if we had a place and, you know, someone who could professionally come in and talk about it, that would be so helpful.
And that's another place where we could possibly partner with the school district, because Chaparral is right there. I mean, there are some facilities that we could try and partner with them to help provide, to bring this together.
For sure.
So that was your first meeting,
Yes.
and how did it go overall?
We didn't have a large group of people. I've noticed that teens don't like to commit, and a lot of them dropped out last minute. So
Keep trying.
It was good, though. There was 5 of us.
yeah,
Yeah.
made my little sister come. She enjoyed it though. So
Well, no, it was good, because her little sister's in junior high, so we had a
You know,
variety.
it takes a little while to get momentum on things. The
Yeah.
first, you just keep at it.
And do you have another meeting scheduled?
we had one in April, but
That didn't
Didn't
quite work
happen.
out, but yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna schedule another.
Nothing happened in April.
Apparently.
April meetings were just born today.
And so you're scheduling one for May.
May, that's great.
Okay.
Which is also a really difficult
June.
month.
And do you
May
know
or June.
what you'll be covering at that meeting?
probably how to make the programs happen, and
Yeah.
summer probably like programs too. We discussed some of
That's a
like
good idea.
possibilities
Yeah.
for those.
So, yeah, what we kind of talked about process at the meeting was, we're looking for the youth commissioners to give ideas, to come back to the rec, for me to put together a program, and then to give back to them to take it out and get people there.
And I
So
think also.
hopefully I can have some info together for you guys.
And use that body to discern how best to present it.
Yeah,
Because I think that's a huge thing with teens as a group. It's not going to work to do it the same way we do it for youth. Because basically the parents are doing the youth.
exactly. Yeah.
So
We're
feedback
appealing
from
to
them on,
mothers.
some different models that might be more successful for.
Yeah, definitely.
Posted it to MySpace.
MySpace. I'll get right on that.
Is he dating
And
himself?
Allison, do you have bandwidth? I mean, does the rec department have bandwidth this summer to enact something that the youth?
Yeah, there's definitely potential. Obviously, our activity guide's already out, but the activity guide doesn't seem to be fruitful in getting
Not
teens
for
to go
them,
anywhere
that's
anyway. So I'm not really worried about that. But I'm hoping to potentially get these like weekend game nights going in the summer.
Like a
and then-
drop-in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So something like the classes like improv yoga, I think those kind of things we would be looking more towards fall. And the kind of workshop thing I think would be more towards fall. But I think trying to get some just like drop in, fun, show up and do something at the rec. We'd also talked about some kind of like scavenger hunt or something like that. So we might try to get something like that, just like a single event in the summer. That way we get people like looking at the rec as like, oh, that's a place where they do cool things.
Yeah.
I know that our open house is just right around the corner.
True.
But is there something we could do to promote the idea of teen programming there?
We don't get many teens at the open house.
But there are parents
It's true.
who would, tune in. Is there, I
Maybe
don't
that's
know.
something that we could make like a flyer or something to do at your table even.
Or just something to hand away just so they could sign up. Like they could start a mailing list or
Yeah.
however best to contact them.
Yeah.
Probably email, I guess, or even texting. Texting seems to be very popular. I don't know what, you tell us.
I mean, I can put it in the bulletin, which most teachers don't read the bulletin,
Yeah.
but
No, I think we have to
some
go
of
beyond
them
that.
do. If I could create some sort of like Instagram, that's where all the kids
Instagram.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Do we have an
Instagram.
Instagram account?
We do have an
Okay.
Instagram. It kind of died when I ran out of time to put pictures on it. But yeah, we have it. And
So
can
maybe we could
revive
promote
it.
that for the teen part.
Yeah,
Use it that way
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
Okay.
absolutely.
Maybe there is I don't know, maybe a special Instagram account specifically focused to teens, so they're not just getting.
So they don't have to go
a
through the
bunch of
soccer
stuff that's
schedule or the
right, yeah.
basketball.
I mean, I could just only post teen stuff on our
could just
Instagram
use it
account
just for
because
that.
they're probably going to be the only people that look at it. I
That's-
think we have like
That's a good idea.
20 followers or something as of now. So
Yeah, and that's something it sounds like the youth commission could go out and try to
Yeah.
get people to sign up for.
So follow us on Instagram should be
follow,
our
right.
thing we're handing out,
Yeah,
for the
Yeah.
teens.
for sure.
And they will. They will do anything to increase their social media.
Yeah.
Presents, okay.
Follow me, I'll follow you. Follow for follow.
Well, it was kind of interesting today, speaking of teens, we must have had 15 Matilahaw kids in our game room today because they all,
They're out
this
early,
week
yes.
is all, they're out, they have early dismissal because of testing.
12:04.
So they've just been making their
course.
way over, and I think over time too, that game room just
It's getting more and more.
It's
is
gained some
picking-
momentum,
It's
yeah.
gained momentum because, we actually didn't allow it, or.
Yes,
I
for
think
quite
we
a
were-
while, it was not
It
available.
was just, it wasn't available. You couldn't come in and just play in the afternoons. It was closed.
Yeah.
It seems like a crazy concept now.
It does.
These days to
Seems
me.
silly.
But back then, yeah, it was off
There was some kind of
limits.
logic.
It took
Yeah, I
some
don't-
work.
It did, but now it's open 5 days a week,
It was
and
excellent.
people are
Used
just
a
picking
lot.
up on that.
Okay.
Like these teens that came over today, I was really surprised. I'm like, wow,
There's a
they
lot of
just
them today.
beeline it. I think from, and that's a long walk. I'm assuming most of them are walking, but maybe they're
Probably.
getting dropped
Trolley, maybe.
off. Or trolley. Yeah, I've had a couple comments from parents saying, how come we don't have a direct
Trolley stop.
trolley stop right?
It is an
right
interesting
environment?
question, but those,
It is an
but those, that is a really
That's another-
complicated question.
That's another.
Those
yeah, sorry to
schedules
go
and
off-
those routes.
Sorry, Chair, to go off track. Yeah, Chair Firestone, but it's
Two
been,
strikes.
it's been nice to see the at least the middle schoolers just come into that game room, and many others actually. A
High
lot of
schoolers,
parents
too.
and high schoolers actually have been there as well.
Yep.
So it's been great.
It's really nice that they have a place to go.
Yeah.
But those kind of things you just talked about are pretty amazing. SAT and improv classes and teen yoga. That'd be pretty nice if we can make that happen.
Yeah.
All very doable.
They are.
Before we move on to adults, any other teen?
I have one more suggestion. We have this program at my school called Associate Teaching, which I'm a part of. And it's a great program, but it's only for kids who are in like the lower level classes, and we don't have any sort of tutoring or help for kids who are in AP and honors classes. And I feel like if we could get some people to come in and like do like a tutor
Yeah.
session for
This is
Yeah,
back to Inspire if they have
Yeah, that's the other
access
thing
to-
that we had talked, I also talked to the Inspire rep about that, was potentially in the fall, like having like a couple days a week where they just have volunteers there and we just set up in the art room after school and you know, just come in and get that kind of help too. So that's definitely a
It's true, because the
potential.
library does a lovely job of doing elementary and even some junior high.
I wonder if the library would be open to doing high school.
It's definitely worth
We
asking
partnered
and
with
seeing if
them
there was
to find volunteers.
Find volunteers for those kinds of things and maybe coordinate, yeah, it'd be great to talk to
Because
them.
it'd be cool to partner with them too.
Because they have a pretty vital program going on there that's,
And I think Commissioner Murphy said he used to help run the tutoring program back in the
a while ago.
Oh, cool.
area. So he might be a good resource too, though, in terms
Cool.
of kicking off a program.
I think that's a great idea, though, and to have access to people who are willing, just even if we have a book of who does what, and you can have access to them. They can call them and ask them questions
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Out of that Inspire group, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
From the rec staff, anything else on teens that you guys have been up to? Or?
She covered it pretty well.
Okay, good. Well, it sounds exciting.
Yeah, a lot of potential.
Thank you. Yeah. Should we talk about adult programming?
Ceramics.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, the weight training program, the strength training. I caution against saying senior because really I think the youngest member they have in that group is 45. I think. Mr. Ryan
We need a
told me,
better
the
name
instructor
for
told
it.
me. Yeah,
We really
just,
do.
Just strength training program.
Training.
Senior definitely isn't a fair.
But it needs to encompass so that people understand it's for all levels, all comers,
all
kind
levels,
of strength
yeah.
training.
Yeah, strength training. So it's 45 to I think they have someone in their 90s
Yeah.
in that program.
Wow.
So it's quite a gamut. Yeah, it's quite a range. So that program is thriving and doing well. We
Bursting
have
at the
adult
seams.
cooking, as you'll see in the guide. We do offer adult cooking class, adult photography, other adult classes.
We have all the sports and
All the
Zumba, Tai
sports.
Chi,
Yeah,
basketball,
yeah.
Drop-ins?
a lot of drop-ins, yeah.
Any other drop-ins.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess the question is maybe, what are we missing? You know, what audience aren't we hitting? I think when we had met Sheriff Firestone and I, we was talking about music classes. You know, we offer youth guitar, but we don't offer adult guitar. But the question is there an audience for it, and is there, you know, is this instructor availability is sometimes a factor, but also as even bigger factor is audience.
Right.
Yeah.
I took an adult education class through the school district, which was graphic design this year, which I thought was great. But I'm wondering if there's an ability to partnership on promoting some of what they're doing as access to adult programming. If they're going to continue to do adult education classes through their career pathways kind of stuff, they're able to do that. The graphic
Yeah.
design course was incredible, taught by the teacher, who teaches at the junior high and the high school, who's excellent. And the facilities are there.
So it was an OUS. It was
It
an
was adult
OUSD
education through
staff.
OUSD. Yes.
Oh, but who was the organization that provided that? Like, was it Ventura College or?
No,
oh,
it was all provided by staff here, because we have
oh.
a career
was fully
pathway.
through the school
It was
district.
fully through the school district, but what I realized is it had very little enrollment, and those of us who were in there knew about it through, it doesn't get great promotion.
Yeah.
And yet, it's a piece of the puzzle for adult
Yeah.
recreation and education. And it's something where we could partner with them possibly to help promote it or to be involved with it, somewhat like the ceramics is so successful. So I was just thinking, I don't know what other adult education they offer, but if they are offering it or they're trying to, I would love to see us either help promote, even if we just promote it, or help in some way to do it, but see how we can partner with those programs. Because a lot of what we're trying to do is this kind of quilt of what's out there to give people access to recreation and,
Yeah.
community events and education stuff. And so
Yeah.
maybe what we do can help them
Right.
make theirs more successful.
Yeah, if when we talk about space being an issue, it's becoming less of an issue because fortunately the school district is willing and to open up their doors and their space to the city
Right.
and the rec department. So when we talk about music classes, and I maybe mentioned to you, well, I just don't know if we'd have the time or the space, or we could reach easily.
I was just gonna say,
Easily is a strong word. We
Potentially.
could ask potentially.
I have to tell you, being on that Nordhoff
Quest,
campus at
yeah.
night though,
Yeah.
they're out there practicing till 9 o'clock. There is some kind of music on that campus from morning
Yeah.
till, like, I was amazed because we were on campus 2 nights a week doing the adult education. That place is busy. You'd think it would be dead,
Yeah.
but no. Drum line, someone over here, something's going on there.
Another, I don't know, the example of the ceramics, the success of the ceramics class, I mean, suggests that maybe there's more kind of recruiting of
Yeah.
teachers within the school district that have access to facilities that might be interested in teaching classes.
The
mean
art
like
teacher is
dance?
wonderful. The art teacher is wonderful. Miss
Yeah.
Thomas, who teaches at Matillahan and Nordhoff, is absolutely excellent. And she and I, just the way that you found the ceramics program, maybe there's opportunity for adult art classes. Because I'll tell you, I bet that would get I bet there are people who'd be interested.
I think so. I mean, I know, again, just keep going back to the ceramics example. It's also very lucrative. Well, not very. Again, it's an extreme word.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a win-win situation there
Yeah.
for the instructor, for the city, for the participants. So yeah, looking to those teachers who already have that skill set and being able to offer it after hours
Yeah, and then.
or even on our site, but right on Nordhoff site
Yeah.
in their space.
And then my hope is that if we could help them promote part of what they're doing, they could expand their other opportunities for adult education. Because there are avenues, but there's not, it's hard for them to get the word out to people on what they're doing.
Yeah, we will help them, and we will reach out to them.
Yeah, no, I think, I love the art
Some
class.
good opportunities, so music, art, and, well, even dance, although I know Miss Hoy, I'm not quite sure she'd
The graphic design.
take on more dance classes.
They may be going till 9 o'clock as well, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. They are.
Dance is already bursting at the seams, I'm not sure.
Anything?
And we offer dance well, not for adults, though. That's what we're talking
Currently.
about here, so.
Anything else on adult programming? Okay. So the next presentations and recognitions. So I was talking to Sophocles last month, and I thought it was really nice when we had the gymnastics group come in and give a presentation. I know we've done presentations in the past, and to acknowledge some of the participants. And I just wanted to think about doing more of that, or kind of planning to do more of that in our upcoming meetings. And then also, if you want to talk about, blanking out his name, tennis.
Yeah. I was gonna, well, maybe on the other information part of it, but we can talk about it now. Yeah, this is appropriate.
Yeah.
So as you know, Rick Thompson will be leaving the department at the end of July. So it's a pretty significant departure for one of our, who's been teaching with us 21 years. They actually honored him at the Ojai tennis tournament. They have the big barbecue on the Thursday night, and I went out and said a few words about Rick, but we'd also, I think it would be nice if the commission recognized him in front of this body,
That's a great idea.
either the June or the July meeting.
June. Would be June.
Yeah, I guess the sooner the better.
June makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's going the end of July, but I think June would be nice. So I don't know if anyone wants to, like we did with gymnastics, volunteer their meeting with staff to come up with a gift or a recognition of some kind to present to him here at that June meeting, but
Is Pat really involved with tennis?
he is.
I think he's
He
the right
might be
person
the
if he's
obvious
willing.
candidate for that, I guess.
Since he's not here.
Yeah. I did.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
I did talk to Mr. They presented, I think at the tennis tournament, they presented Rick with this, the Ojai, one of the Ojai tennis balls and a glass encasement. It was really classy and nice. And so, I don't know, I know they give tiles, city tiles to council members, I believe, and I don't know what the gauge is. I think it's like 10 years or more, something like that. You earn a city tile. I've already suggested that to Mr. McClary as a possible gift option, but
Okay. Well,
we'll see. Well, I can talk about
sounds like
that.
we'll check in with Commissioner Murphy, and if
Yeah.
not, is there someone who, as a backup? Anyone?
Yeah, if Commissioner Murphy doesn't want to, I mean, I can. I've known Rick since I was 4 years old,
Okay.
Perfect.
so.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think the other part of that too, the intention maybe was to try to get a regular, and that's on recreation staff, but a regular visit from not just some of our independent contractors, but from city staff too, to come in.
Yeah.
That-
This is a great
just
opportunity to.
recognize and meet, as sort of a meet and greet kind of
Right.
opportunities. So we'll do what we can to schedule an instructor, our ceramics instructor. Either, maybe we do a new and then a long standing and a new, kind of flip back and forth between relatively new instructors and then longtime instructors.
Are there particular programs or instructors that we'd be interested in having?
You know, aquatics is coming up, and I don't really know about what they do for how the training works and all that. I know they're super busy, and it may not work, but if they have time, that would be, I think, pretty informative to know how you ramp up and all that you do.
Yeah, I could potentially have my pool manager come. I can see if she'd be interested in that.
Because I think it's great too for youth out there to hear how it works for next summer if they're looking for a job. Just,
Yeah.
spread the word.
Hiring 3 new people. I just sent out emails.
Oh, good.
today.
Yeah, and our pool manager, how long has our pool manager been with us? 6, 7?
Somewhere
Wow.
in there, yeah, significant.
A decent amount, and
Yeah.
she is top notch.
I fear the day where we lose her.
You don't wanna talk about it,
Every
that's
year I
right.
send
Yeah,
her that
we don't.
email at the beginning of January going, will you be back? And then when she says yes, I just, so, she's great.
Other programs or instructors? Or
I think
staff?
last year we had the wilderness, correct? A year,
It was about
maybe it was
2 years ago.
At least,
Yeah.
a couple years.
It all blends
It's
together.
fine.
Anyways, I think it'd be beneficial to have her back.
Sure.
Everybody seems to love the program too.
Yeah, that program, when we opened it for the summer camps, within a day or two, we had wait lists.
Yeah.
Because she does she has her own website too.
Right.
With our programs on the website, and the
Yeah,
people
she
are
emails out her
asking-
contacts
She
and
emails out her contacts.
people
and-
sign up online like within
Within
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
of them. She's just say, I've got people waiting to register. Will you please open
Open
them? Open them. And as soon as we do, yeah, they just fill. So they're
Floodgates
amazing, popular.
open.
Yeah, but we'll invite her.
Okay, great. Others, are there maybe programs that you feel like need a little attention?
I think it'd be beneficial to have, sorry to jump in.
Yeah.
Matt Murphy come too, for talk about basketball. Start pumping it early.
Do you want it, but timing wise that, you want to do that like
We can, I
a
mean,
month or two before it's time or?
I think we should pump it early.
Okay.
But,
I should probably see if he's willing to commit to
I-
helping next year first, but yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, he will.
I know what you're saying. Like, yeah, I mean, we've
By
got
the time we
flag
get-
football in the fall, but
But by the time we get everybody scheduled, I mean, it's going to be basketball season again almost. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the early fall, maybe have.
Is the teen weight training changing at all due to the CrossFit leaving?
no.
Okay, so that doesn't changing.
nope,
Same schedule, same deal.
schedule,
Okay.
same time, 3 to 6.
That's
I would like to try to get our music. He teaches class on Thursday nights, and he finishes
Oh.
at 6. But we could get him here. We could, bump back to presentations, because that's a
Right.
class
Yeah.
that I really like to promote.
A little more, yeah.
And in the fall, you're obviously not right this second, but you'll see we're fine tuning that we're going to try to put a little twist on the music program where it's going to be, if you take keyboard or guitar, you're also enrolling in a rock band a rock band class. So you'll take your half-hour keyboard or guitar lesson, and then those two classes actually you'll combine in the middle of their lesson,
That's very creative.
and do learn how to play guitar, other instruments, drums. It'll be vocal,
Bass.
bass guitar.
So that's a good one to have on to promote
electric,
how it
acoustic
works.
guitar. Yeah, so we're hoping that will spice it up or bump up numbers, and I'd like him to come in and talk about his classes too. It would be nice, so I'll try to
Great.
squeeze him in.
Yeah, maybe we can work on kind of a lineup for the next few meetings of
Yeah.
presentations.
Yeah.
can you throw Melissa White on there for the horseback rides, the horse camp? There's always a lot of chatter on Facebook, people looking for horse camps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and hers
How many of our
always
friends-
sell out in the
Yeah.
summer.
there's tons of friends who
every-
have little girls who all they want to do is ride horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of her camps fill every. In fact, 2 of them are almost full
Already full.
already.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. They're popular.
Yep.
She's
Yeah,
fantastic.
she's another one who's been with the department for,
Long time.
she's pushing 10 years.
And you know what might be nice about that is to do it at the end of the summer because she has year-round classes.
Programming, yeah.
And so programming, so it might be good to do her at the end of the summer so she can push on the
Right.
year-round programming because we know we're going to fill the,
summer.
Our classes have actually been filling as well these days.
Yeah, so,
It's really-
All the charter school participants. It's interesting, there's
Oh,
a few
interesting.
classes that all of our charter school participants sign up for, and that's one of them. It's kind of interesting.
it's funny how
That and
people bring
fencing.
people along,
Yeah,
get a small group going.
yep.
So then back to recognitions, are there other thoughts about kind of types of participants or employees to recognize? That's,
We've done our Kung Fu program. We've had them come and present before, I think, but they do like competitions and such where they.
Similar to
they-
gymnastics.
Yeah, where they do definitely get awards, which are cool.
Yeah, he'll go to competitions from time
Mm-hmm.
to time.
So it might be interesting to talk to him about timing on that.
Yeah.
But the end of do they have an end of season or is it a year-round season?
That's a year round,
Okay.
yeah, those competitions are, but we'll try to, if we can time it where we know he's going to
Yeah.
a competition and then he can kind of
Yeah.
say, this is what we did.
It might also be cool to do like at the end of our sports leagues, maybe have like the championship teams come and you guys can like recognize
That's a neat idea.
the top team in each division. I mean, obviously they get trophies, but it could be kind of cool for them to get to
Certificate of
come here.
recognition,
yeah.
mhm.
From city.
Like, yeah,
And we're,
just, you
I'm
know,
looking to potentially start an
fourth grade champs, that'd be.
Yeah. I'm looking to potentially start an all-star program for basketball next year too, which could be
Interesting.
another opportunity
So
for
it'll be
that.
they'd travel? Sorry,
S-
I won't ask that now. I'll ask you later.
Potentially.
That's
That's the idea.
yeah. So that would be a,
It'd be a year
what
from
would be
now.
the, yeah. What month would that be in? I'm
It would
trying to
start in
think of when it
March.
would finish, like the. oh,
Start in
you do
March, end around
yeah.
this time.
The March meeting or the April meeting.
Oh.
Oh, anyway.
Okay, well, something to keep in mind if, think of anyone or group that would be nice to recognize, we're capable of it.
Just a thought real quick on the recognition. I don't want this to sound poorly, but not to diminish the accomplishments of some of these groups, but I want to make sure that when we recognize people, we recognize them for stuff that's above and beyond. And I mean, gymnastics, they're setting all-time highs. You
Yeah.
know, that's never been accomplished in the program. That's something to recognize. You know, I don't want to just give out participation
Saying
recognition.
participant.
Yeah.
It also gets
We
really,
they get a lot of
Participation
participation. Yeah, I'm
it
trying
also
to
gets really
politically
complicated.
say that. You know,
It gets too complicated.
it does. It gets
Do
very
we only do fourth
complicated.
grade?
Then all of a
We can't
sudden,
do
you're
fifth and
giving them
sixth
out
grade?
for
Yeah.
everybody.
It's too
They
hard.
already get plenty of participation
Yeah.
medals and trophies. So I just want to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons.
Well, and even recognizing the top teams is too, I
Right.
mean, it would be really difficult to recognize
be.
from each grade level to do it would take a lot.
It could be. So just something to keep in mind as we go forward.
Yeah, and it's a good
Dilute
point.
the process.
Exactly.
I think also like we're talking about instructors, staff
Right.
members. if
People,
there's-
yeah, I like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, should we move on?
Yep.
Staff reports?
I did the bike park.
Yeah,
the
got
bike
that.
park's done. Oh, CPR and first aid requirements, so, Commissioner Firestone, and nicely enough, and I think it's great when this kind of, communication happens, not that, I mean, these meetings are a great forum for what were these kind of discussions, but Commissioner, or Chair Firestone sent me, a list of questions that he wanted answered regarding CPR and first aid, and it's helpful to get those in advance, because then I can think about them and get answers to them, and get staff to weigh in on some of those questions. So I'll just kind of briefly, quickly go over some of the questions he asked. I'll save the last one, the most difficult one for last. So some of the questions he asked are, anytime or activities where no certified staff or contracted staff are present. So there are some, and some of the ones that we identified there, that that we could identify all of them, I think we got all of them, are the horsemanship program, pottery, and tennis. Those are all contractors. So
Offsite contract.
offsite. Yeah. So that, it's kind of a double whammy there, because it was just anytime activities where there are no certified or contracted staff that, and additionally, it's offsite too, so
And then-
it would be those three: horsemanship, pottery, and tennis. So non-on-site, so during, non-on-site, what does that mean? During Sarasota Park on-site activities, any on-site activities, there's always a CPR and first aid staff available on-site. So he got a little, Chair Firestone got a little more specific, said, okay, on-site, there's always someone certified, but how about in the same location of where the children are? So for day camp and for the after-school program, there's always someone in the same room. On location, there's always someone in the same room who's CPR and first aid certified. So again, day camp, after school, yes. For some on-site contractor classes and specialty camps, not always someone CPR and first aid certified. So we talked about the Lego camp. There wouldn't be. Fencing camp, which is also in the multi-purpose room.
Both are in the multipurpose room.
What's that?
Both of those are in the
Both of
multipurpose.
those are in the multi-purpose room. So I didn't detail every specialty camp, but I would say most of the independent contractors on site, Kung Fu, any of them, most of those instructors are not CPR and first aid certified. I think there
But
were
I would say
maybe
most of
two
ours
or
that are-
three that were, I think, Tai
Yeah.
Chi and our cartooning instructor.
Yeah. I would say that most of our staff run specialty camps would, though, like
Yes.
gymnastics, basketball, flag
Oh,
football.
okay.
The ones that are staff, wilderness, they do in the same
Right.
space.
But the contracted, no.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about staff just on site, yes, there are several on site that are CPR and first aid certified. So seems to be leaning toward more of a contractor issue when it comes to the non-CPR, non-certified staff. And then other questions asked were, is this provided free to all employees? Yes. The hours that they come to the training, this is staff now, city staff, they're paid for the training hours and for the certification. And then the question was, well, is it offered to the contracted employees? Not currently. So we don't recruit them to come and take it. We don't really have a methodology right now of saying, you don't have to pay for you just pay for the actual cost to get the cert card.
I don't
You
think
don't have to pay for
I don't think you should
instructor.
even ask him for
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, you think we should just offer it?
I think
mean,
you should
well,
just offer it.
I'm not gonna
but
put words
no.
in your mouth away, yeah. Okay. It's the opinion of this, well,
We can discuss
we
that.
can
but
discuss it
yeah.
after. Okay, let me finish. I'm almost there. Do we track who is certified through the rec department or otherwise? Yes, thanks to your group, we keep a master list of who is and who isn't certified, both contracted and city staff. You have that list. I don't know what the percentages are on that list, but maybe we'll reach. You didn't ask that question, so I feel it's necessary to give it to you now. We can give you that number though. How often is there an incident? Was another question, and so incidents is rising to the level of requiring we have incident reports, right? So incidences rising to a level of requiring an official incident report pertaining to, injury where it required a Band-Aid or icing. I estimated that once every 2 months. But incidences requiring further medical care, like emergency room, doctor visit, they're very rare. I can't really off the top.
think
We
we've
just had
had-
a recent gymnastics injury with a slight hand fracture,
I think we've had 2 in the after-school program since it was adopted.
where they had to go to.
Yeah, but the parent came and picked that. It wasn't like we rushed them to the ER, but the parent came and picked them up and went and got
I
them
think
checked
there was
out.
one a fall off a slide.
Yeah, it was, I think a couple stitches.
Those
So
are
they're
rare.
pretty
So-
rare.
But I'd say a couple a month where you have to Band-Aid, apply ice, kind of scenarios.
General first aid kind of
General
basic.
first
Yeah.
aid, basic first aid kind of things. So the last question. Oh, it's gonna be, so explain why it is not, this is not the way, maybe it was, hopefully it wasn't presented, but explain why it is not appropriate for the commission to provide a policy recommendation to the council on certification. So it's not that, you can definitely make from what I understand, well, let me read this first. The Parks and Rec Commission can discuss it, according to municipal code. You can discuss it if it's placed on the agenda. Whether to make it a policy recommendation to council on setting a first aid training standard for rec department programs. So you can say, hey, this is what we think the training standard should be for recreation department programs. But what I think where the line is drawn, so to speak, is making it city HR policy decisions. Like,
We can't make
hey,
those.
Right. You have to have
We
that
inherently
need,
can't
right.
make this.
Well, I think that's where the line is of within 90 days of, I think that maybe I threw that out there, I don't know, but it was thrown out there, hey, within 90 days of employment, you need to be certified. That's where the line is drawn. So you can certainly make
Recommend that
recommendations
to the
on,
council.
we recommend to council that everyone that works city or contracted, I'm not saying this is what you want, but anyone that works city or that city employee or contractor should be CPR and first aid certified. How we get there is human resources.
Well, we could even
or
make a further
staff.
recommendation that we believe that the city should pay for contractors. There's a lot that we can do.
You can make those recommendations, actually, so
Yeah.
you're not, you may never discuss CPR and first aid issues. No, certainly you can, but when it comes to staffing policy, like,
We can't set any
That.
policy.
right,
We only make
That.
recommendations.
yes, yes.
And on the spectrum of this, does, say this, what we're discussing about offering the first aid for free to contractors, is that a policy? Is that a
It
recommendation?
probably,
to the
it
council, or-
probably is.
I would say this, we aren't experts in policy, and we aren't even, I don't think I'm certainly not putting myself forward as any kind of HR expert. I think what we do is we have our broad discussion, we come up with what we think would generally be best practices and the best way to accomplish the goal that we're setting out as the policy, and we put that out there. I don't think we need to worry too much, because if we have overstepped our bounds, they won't look at it. And all we're doing is making a recommendation. So at the end of the day, there's nothing, I don't see the risk.
Right. So,
Can I throw something out, and, because it is one of my staff reports, real quick. We do have our new assistant to the city manager. His name is James Vega, and he is part of his position as human resources. So he's already looking into through Allison's prompting, scheduling a CPR and first aid class through our JPIA.
So today, we can't really have a discussion of this anyway. It's not agendized, so we're done.
Right, and that was, I think, kind of the kind of previous message I got was like, really, this was kind of beyond the bounds of what we make motions or decisions on. But since it's not,
It's not.
we probably do want to
No.
bring it up for kind of one final discussion.
An agenda. We just
If
need
you
to see on
want to
future agenda.
agendize,
Sure.
if you want to
Right.
agendize it for the next, then
Right, so are we ready to have that discussion? It sounds like we have a good understanding now of where the rec department is.
Mm-hmm.
And you could send more questions between whenever we agendize it and
Yeah.
now.
Right,
Yeah.
so if anyone has more questions, you can definitely send them. So it sounds like we'd be ready for next month.
So, can I go on to
Please.
9C?
Yeah.
Sarasota Master Plan, that is happening May 9th. We are
May
on
9th.
the agenda.
Nice,
We're,
okay.
bam, it's there.
Yay.
So I invite you to come to that. Certainly, community design will be, Community Works will be here. He is planning to provide a PowerPoint presentation. Of course, I'll be here to start it off and then probably hand most of it off to him, but it'd be nice to have you in support. I will send you the final master plan document, which we just added a little bit on irrigation. Water, it wasn't on there. Mr. McClary pointed that out, and he added a paragraph or two about irrigation issues or needs for the plan. And then my staff report on it. So I meant to actually send that out to you this week, but just haven't done it yet, but I will get it to you. So you have that document, but hopefully you
Great.
can be there for that presentation.
Great.
I'm excited about it. Hopefully it will be adopted without any issues. Skate park lights, man, have you seen them?
Yep.
They're up, they're on, they're happening.
I-
And
How exciting is that?
it was crazy.
How painless was that?
Just drove by and looked over
The lights
and
were on.
All of a sudden they were on. It was like,
And
okay.
it went so quickly.
I mean, there's still bugs to work out on
For
it.
sure.
Because there's no signage out there to tell them, hey, you need to deposit X amount of change in there to get them to even come on. And
They're
they are
figuring it
on
out, though.
they're, from what I understand, I haven't seen it yet because I haven't been out there after 10 or long enough. But 10 o'clock is the cutoff time. The poles are supposed to be, phased out one at a time. So it's not all at once that they go out, but I don't know if it's happening that way either, because no city staff, just for the record, have been involved in that process yet of
Right.
of how the timers were set. We don't currently know even how to set the
You haven't
timers.
received
So-
it yet?
No.
As a gift
we
back?
we haven't. So we're relying on Skate Ojai that they've.
Have they set a date for that?
Oh,
Is
so
that on the
here's-
agenda?
The gifting, not yet,
Okay.
but there's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony. Tuesday, May 9th is a big day. Tuesday.
It's a big day, okay.
Yeah, so that's the council meeting where we're going to hopefully have, presenting before city council for the master plan. That morning, they're doing a ribbon cutting ceremony. They didn't give a specific time yet though. But once I get that time, I will email you with that time. And once again, we'd love to have you present for it. But I've been out there. I find the lights to blend really nicely into the park. They're not these huge, the fixtures aren't these huge, obnoxious looking fixtures. The
Yeah.
poles, I think, actually have some art. They're pleasant. They're not just these industrial, to me, they don't look
They don't look
Industrial.
very gaudy or
Yeah, they're
they
not
don't stand
gaudy.
out.
They don't stand out at all. They're not
did a
these
very nice
huge,
job.
gaudy, they're
Project well done. Good job,
Yeah.
Skate Ojai, and
Skate
all the many,
Ojai,
many
yeah.
volunteers that made it
Big-
happen.
big kudos to them because
Yeah.
I think they look great. As a matter of fact, when I leave tonight, I'm gonna go
Drive by.
that way. Yeah, to check them out. And
Great.
because there was a post on the Ojai Valley News, there's a video
yeah.
post on their website if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can't imagine the kids are, I'm sure, just over the top about being able to skate at night.
It's been packed every night that I drive by. It's awesome.
Especially with the weather getting warmer, and
Yeah.
now they can come out at night and skate.
Yeah, it's great.
There's our teen programming.
Just a party.
Do you need to go?
Check.
Okay.
Am I?
Okay, classes and events. We've got something
Good
here.
luck.
So there's a Libby Bowl event, Saturday, May 6th. That's this Saturday, 6:30 to 10. Eric Burden and the Animals.
Mm-hmm.
So just for,
And if anyone is looking for tickets, they can go to the Ojai Libby Bowl webpage
Yep.
through the
Libby-
city.
yep,
through the city's webpage,
libbybowl.org.
and it'll direct you to where to purchase tickets.
we have a movie, our next movie night is Friday, May 26th, Finding Dory. And what we discovered is the movie does matter.
Earth was not a
we
very
did
big
show
The
Disney
kids were
Earth,
not in,
and,
okay.
yeah, the
How many did
numbers
we have?
dropped like a
9?
like a rock.
Oh.
9, 10.
About
Yeah,
9.
yeah, significant drop. Yeah.
They didn't get a choice.
From 60 to 9, literally month to month, 60 to
No,
9.
no more documentaries.
But it's very much a helpful feedback for us
Yes.
that they do care what the movie is.
You learned something.
It wasn't. It's not just about the
That's so
parents.
funny.
Our picnic.
For a week after that?
They order it after the kids arrive. We've learned.
Yeah,
that. We've learned that much. It does fluctuate.
Picnic shelters have been going great. So for the month of May, every Saturday, both Saturday and Sunday are booked. Not all the areas yet, but
So there's
at
still
least one of the-
availability. Okay.
There's still availability, but at least one or two of the areas are booked for both Friday and Saturday. And the weekend before last on a Sunday, every area was booked. There was probably 200 people out there, but believe it or not, it didn't seem like it. It was very harmonious. I felt like there was plenty of space, even though every area was booked. So
Yeah.
Good.
it's just been fantastic. We haven't received any complaints from neighbors about noise, and
Great.
so far so good on those picnic areas.
They look
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, they're amazing. Lastly, I already talked about the game room. I talked about our new assistant city manager, James Vega, new public works employee, Miguel Contreras. As you know, Caitlin, one of our recreation specialists, sadly, moved out of state. She left at the beginning of April, and we do have a new hire that it may potentially start within the next couple of weeks, barring any unforeseen glitches.
News to me.
Just waiting for her. She'll come in. It's a she. She'll come in and sign her contract next week, and
Great.
maybe it'll start in another week after that, but somewhere in the next couple of weeks. So we're happy about that. That's all I have for classes and events. Do you have anything else that
I'm just waiting for open house.
that I didn't
Open
cover?
house.
Oh, open house. We're there.
Yay! It's gonna be awesome. I hope it's on your guys' calendar.
Are you going to have a sign up for shifts, or how do you want to do it?
So I want to bring that up to you guys tonight. So the event is from 11 to 2. So we're going to have obviously a booth for you guys. I was hoping that one of you would be interested in partnering with me to figure out what kind of materials we want to provide, because I want to make some signage for you guys and some handout materials, something with fun graphic pictures, so some of that kind of stuff. I just don't know exactly what you guys want to produce. Obviously, we want to have like the master plan information there, but I was hoping somebody might be willing to come meet with me for an hour to kind of just figure out what you guys want, so I can have some materials ready for you that day. And then, so the event is 3 hours. We want to be there a little bit early, and a little bit late to set up and take down. So I don't know if anybody wants to do the whole day, if you guys want to do shifts. Last year we did shifts, and we had some of you guys work at the booth, and then some you guys work like in the kitchen or game room or whatever. But this year we have plenty of staff to cover all those other areas, so we can just have you guys at the booth. So I don't know what I don't know if everybody's planning to be there, what you guys are thinking.
Do you want to
but
shoot us an email with some of that?
I can do that.
Only in that, like, I can't do the whole thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah, I can
I'll do
just,
that.
I'll just create 2 shifts and I'll say who wants to do which one.
Perfect. And if
Does
you
that work for
need
everybody?
setup,
Yeah.
You know,
put that
if
on there
we-
too.
We train them on helium balloons.
Oh, yeah.
People, like, they'd
Put
have
that
to-
at the- that's a
they'd
great
be-
idea.
They'd have to interact with it.
That
because
would
they're
be
gonna
good.
get-
I
You want
think
to
that's a
take
great
helium
idea.
and balloons away
Yeah.
from our day camp people, boss?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, I think,
That's a very large event coordinator decision to be made, so I don't think you have the
But
I'm
that's a
sorry
great,
for-
but it's
I'm
a great
sorry.
idea.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If
toes
you
are
want to
being
draw
stepped
them
on.
to the table, that will do it. but I'll-
last year, there wasn't really a lot of traffic to the table,
No.
other than people
Yeah.
we knew personally.
'Cause we really didn't have any signage
Right.
last year for
Some
you
people looked at the
guys.
master plan,
Yeah.
but that was,
So I think if we had because, I
If
mean, we
there's
had
a
a poster up for a
draw,
long time up
yeah.
in the office and people were constantly looking, what's that? Like, looking at the master plan. So I think if we had a big master plan printed out, which I have one in the office that we
but the
can use.
balloons are a great idea.
Balloons, or, you know, if we put food, I don't know, but you're going to serve the popcorn from your booth. I mean,
Fine.
that will draw it.
Something.
It will.
Happy to do
Popcorn
popcorn.
from their
Something
booth.
needs to be at our booth, otherwise it's not very interesting.
I mean, I'm just saying.
We sit
It's
there and
not
talk
putting
to each
electricity
other.
over there.
Exactly.
Food or balloons will get them over there.
Yeah.
Ice cream.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
I'll put you
No, no.
guys next to the booth because I don't want to make you guys do balloons because it's a lot of work. But maybe I'll put you next to the balloon booth so you guys are like.
We could do the balloons.
You can put.
I
I mean, if you guys want to do the
I
balloons,
could definitely figure out how to do balloons.
I'm not
Well,
saying you can. I just don't wanna
whoever-
make you.
Whoever that staff is that's going to come and coordinate with Allison, I guess you can sort out those details.
Anybody want to volunteer for that?
Yeah.
Sage has a lot of ideas.
I will, we'll do something.
fine.
Maybe even on the phone. Can we do it on the
That
phone?
could be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then the ribbon cutting ceremony is going to be at noon.
Okay,
The-
for the
the-
picnic area.
The picnic area, that's where we're going to serve the lunch, so. It's
Okay.
gonna
Oh,
be.
good, it's gonna be over
Yeah,
there.
we're
Great.
just gonna say, hey, go over to the picnic area, the pizza lunch will be served, ribbon cutting ceremony and pizza lunch is gonna be over by the picnic shelters. The mayor has already committed to coming to do the official ribbon cutting, so.
Are we sending a special invitation to the Civic Association and setting aside a time to honor them?
Good question.
Because,
That group generally
well, I think we
likes
should
to
do it
be-
whether,
Yes.
I think we should send it all out whether they come or
Yeah.
not.
True. I don't believe so.
Okay, I think it would be lovely to add that, and then to be prepared to give them something like a certificate of thanks, and then send it
Yes,
to
I
them if
agree.
they don't come.
I agree. Yes.
Just so, as long as we put it on our, whatever our talking points are.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Do we have the giant scissors for the,
Do you have
It's
the-
on my list.
Yeah.
Giant scissors.
City's
Giant
gotta
scissors.
have a
They do.
pair.
We do. The city owns a giant
It
pair of
just makes me
scissors.
think
They're
of Parks and
beautiful.
I
Recreation.
was being facetious.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just makes me
No,
think of the
they
Parks
do.
and Recreation
We
show.
actually do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that rock climbing wall will be back, and
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
gonna be,
That was very
yeah,
popular.
a lot of the last year's popular things will come
bounce
back.
houses.
We're gonna have a lot of great contractors, or we're actually gonna have less contractor booths. A lot of people aren't available or have other things going on. But the contractor booths that we have are gonna be like really active ones, like
Good.
the Legos. And we actually have our science,
Science guy.
Tim Baker, the science maker, he runs our science camp, and his booth is always super cool, like actual like science experiments that he like takes the kids and does them with. So,
Fire gonna be there again?
is who?
Fire department?
Fire department was.
That's a different event.
Oh, that was a different
Yes, that's the safety fair.
But they're
Oh.
right
Yeah,
close
right,
to
right,
each
right,
other,
right.
like really close to each other.
Yeah, that's another cool event, but yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
they are,
generally
but
invite
they're-
outside
but I-
organizations,
Evan, what?
just because once you open one door, you get a lot of doors.
They were doing-
Yeah, so we open it up to all of our instructors.
So, on that note, we were discussing it earlier, when, was it Lamar?
John Lamar.
John Lamar
John,
was
yeah.
here. Do we want, I know we don't open up to outside organizations, but the bike park is kind of a
Yeah.
tandem event. Do we want to encourage them to have a booth or
Or share part of our table.
share part of a table even? They don't need to have a whole booth, maybe, but maybe they.
Maybe
have some of the
they
other
send a
drum-ups.
rep and we have some of that information at your guys' booth.
Or even if they want to
Or
sit
As
there.
we put it at our table.
Yeah. Or
Yeah, I
if,
think it'd
We-
be totally
we don't need
appropriate
a
to have them
whole
included
table.
with you guys, yeah,
yeah, or a flyer for our table.
yeah. I think,
But
yeah,
they're-
I don't know that we necessarily want to have like a booth for them, but I think definitely having it be a part of your guys' booth is,
And maybe have somebody there for them.
yeah.
I think it's
for their
fine.
group, a
Yeah.
rep.
Yeah, I can check in
Drum up
with
some more
John
support
and
for them.
Toby.
But I just, I'm just gonna briefly go back to the skate park lights. It's amazing, big kudos to Sunday,
Oh.
our ex-commissioner,
All of Skate Ojai.
Sunday Rylander, and all of Skate Ojai for making that happen. I mean, it is, I don't know, it's a bit unprecedented, a bit. I mean, I think Oxnard has a lit skate park, but, Santa Paula's isn't, and I don't know, I just like the fact that it happened.
And it's really, isn't it it's the first big LED installation in Ojai, isn't it? What else has gone in?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it
Yeah,
may
I
be the
think so.
first one.
I think so.
It's awesome.
It's pretty, it's
So,
pretty,
good
It's great.
example.
it's pretty great.
Yeah.
All right, so
Cool.
I had one other, they had the gymnastics memorial exhibition last Friday, honors Michelle Palza and Katie Edwards, two gymnasts of the past, and it was a super fantastic event. It always is. They pack out that gym.
It's so full.
All the bleachers, they bring in how many folding chairs, a lot of folding chairs, and it gets packed out. It was great event as always, and they have, it's recorded now and televised, so it's on Channel 10. We're running it a couple times a day, probably for the next week or so. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out on Channel 10.
Channel 10 broadcast.
Yeah.
the one
You have to
we're
have cable.
currently broadcasting
Cable.
on.
You have to have cable to get
Yes.
What cable again?
it.
I could also send you the DVD if you want that, if you prefer.
Okay, anything else on staff reports? Okay, commissioner committee reports and comments. We did hear about the youth committee. Anything else?
Libby Bowl Committee. We just, we put together a new policy and procedure for fee waivers, and we're just going through our first group. Usually it'll be once a year. This year it's going to be a little different because we're doing it mid-year. For nonprofits or different organizations that want to put together an event and get their fees waived for the use of the Libby Bowl. And so now we have a whole process, and we've just reviewed our first applications and sent that forward to council. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to go on their agenda, but anyway, so that was a neat process, and it gives groups that are adding benefit. And there's a couple of different categories and ways to do it, but it's online, so if people are looking for the forms, they can find them. This year it's done, but then each year they'll have an opportunity to do that.
Sounds
It
good.
was,
Yeah.
it was scheduled for as a consent item, actually, for the May 9th.
That makes sense. I wondered if that was, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's moving forward.
Great.
And there's some interesting stuff coming up in the bowl.
Thanks.
Mother's Day, Nordhoff High School fundraiser. Beatlemania, but it's a fundraiser for Maestro, which supports all of the music programs at Nordhoff, and it's at Libby Bowl. And it's like it's a Beatles cover
Oh,
band
on Mother's Day.
on Mother's Day. Not a bad way to spend Mother's Day.
Any other committee action?
Just a couple plugs. One question. Why doesn't the trolley stop at Sarasota?
Now it's on your mind?
Well,
That's a,
it comes.
I know this is outside of our purview,
Yeah.
and
It's
I'm
on the
sorry to
corner
get
of
off
Park.
it.
right
It comes
there.
close. It's on the corner of Park and Grand.
Mm-hmm.
There is a
Okay.
stop on the corner of Park and Grand. It is close, but it's not right there. I don't know. It depends on how the
Again,
routes are written.
Very complicated, all of that. It's definitely worth
Agreed.
asking the question, and there's, who on council is, anyway,
Oh.
to transportation too, and anyway, that's,
Yeah.
All right. Transportation.
That's a busy stop too. I live not far from there.
Right.
Yeah.
I always see people there.
it is a busy one.
We do have kids that ride the trolley
From other places,
from
yeah.
school and home and stuff and can walk to the park.
But that's a great recommendation for when they have their discussions next.
Well, you
on-
see a lot of for that comment this week with Matilda getting out of there, you see a ton of the kids.
They're all
jumping on the
over.
trolley.
It's
Yes.
right, and I have to say, it's not like a direct. Of course, it's not a direct route. It's not like a.
Right.
It's a runaround.
It's a meandering,
Sure.
yes,
Of course,
Yeah.
but
If you're,
because they go by Topa, because they do they pick up there.
yeah.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, we're
okay.
talking more of a direct.
Two other plugs just for the Valley this weekend. I know Montessori has their day in the country, and San Antonio has their Touch a Truck that Gold Coast Transit and Ojai Trolley will be at as well.
Nice.
So
What were the dates again on that? Sorry.
Saturday. This Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, day in the country's from 11 to 2, and Touch Trucks from 10 to 3 out at San Antonio.
Busy time of the year.
Busy time,
Luckily, they're
everything's
both on the
All out
same
all
side
out
of the.
East End.
That's right, East End.
Hang out at the
Kicking
East End
off.
this Saturday.
so, yeah, it's summer season, so stuff's
Yep.
kicking off.
Great. Okay, we don't have our city council.
We
liaison.
obviously have driven them away lately.
Yeah. I don't know. Too much fun.
Budget times.
Uh,
Lots of meetings.
But the council member, maybe I really need to express to them that we'll be willing to move them up on the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe if we tell them, him or her, that
Right.
they'd be more apt to
Yeah.
attend.
Yeah. Okay. Future meeting dates and agenda items. So we've got, I suggested this one that's on here, streamline and engaging ad hoc committees. We have a big list of what we call ad hoc committees that aren't actually active. And so, and we've had kind of revolving membership as well. So I think it's probably time to clean up that list, maybe cut it down to just a handful of committees that we're actually going to do something on, and then start up others as.
And they tend to
It
get
arises.
active when there's activity in the realm.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes they're very active, but yeah, then.
Yeah, and let's kind of keep them, I think, for that. Like
Yeah,
when
keep 'em
there's
on
a
there, but
need,
yeah.
let's use them, and if not, let's kind of clear them off the books and move on. So that was something that I wanted to talk about. Then it sounds like we're ready for first aid CPR discussion next month. Other things.
We're bringing back the 5-year CIP, and we're bringing back
Bathroom.
the bathrooms
right,
at the Libby,
bathrooms.
the restrooms.
That sounds like a good June.
Do we want to do a thank you at our next meeting to the Civic Association at our meeting?
Yeah,
Would probably be good.
yeah.
And we're doing Rick Thompson's,
Say
right?
that again.
A thank you to the Civic Association for the picnic structures, like a
Just-
formal presentation,
Okay.
whether
Do-
they come or not, of a
Right.
certificate
Do we
somehow.
want that under presentation then?
Yes,
Or
probably.
Is that along with Rick
You could do both,
Thompson?
yeah, we could
Yeah,
recognize both
Both
of them.
as presentations?
Recognitions,
Yeah, yeah.
however you want to term it.
Okay.
But-
I think
Like,
so.
in the first part of the agenda, not as a discussion item is what I'm.
Right, not a
Yeah.
discussion item.
Right.
Anything else for June?
If we can get the aquatics, that's great. If not,
Right.
that's fine too.
For obviously presentation.
Presentation,
Yeah, June, I'll see if we can do June or July.
yeah, if it
Yeah.
works.
If not, if there's another presentation that would be well-timed for June.
Well, we have two. Potential.
Yeah, obviously aquatics would be best for June.
Right.
July would be.
Well, it'll be in the middle of the season.
I thi-
Exciting
June would be,
stuff to share.
if you can make
June would
June
be
happen, June would be
perfect.
ideal.
Yeah. And then looking further ahead, any other items we want to put on the list?
Would it be useful to have a discussion and a recommendation when staff is ready regarding partnership with the school district on more items? Because we have one, and to discuss it and kind of move it forward a little bit,
Yeah.
so that council's really aware of that, and that that's something we're working on?
Because we'll have that joint meeting in August before you know it, we'll be back to the joint meeting. And it'd be nice
True.
to show some progress there.
Yep.
As far as that
So maybe in
partnership.
Maybe we could have that on as a discussion item, if staff has time to get it ready by then,
Sure,
and investigate maybe some other opportunities.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, and
That
I think it's great, because it'll bump
Prime
us
that to the,
along.
yeah, okay.
Push us along to make it
A
happen.
goal,
A goal to make it.
or a
To
deadline,
say, yes,
however
we've
you want to look at
reported
it.
it, or no, we have nothing.
like
That's the
yes.
discussion over. We've got nothing for you.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. This meeting is adjourned.
Hey, not bad,
All right.
8:30.